No. We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Hello and welcome to Secular Views Shethinkers, where secular girls geek out and justifiably rage about the week's news. I'm your host, Story Mooneyham, joined by my co-host, Shayra Akers.
Hey!
And the Dirty Nerdy.
Hello!
Tonight's topic is Harry Potter!
Woo!
Yay!
I'm super serial excited, guys.
We also have a new stupid sexist song, a book review, and Shayra's gonna dispel myths about breast cancer.
Yeah.
But
no one likes breast cancer.
Nope.
Or myths about them. Okay.
But first, a message from our sponsors. Shethinkers is sponsored by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. That's SHETHINKERS, Shethinkers. They have over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Yay!
Just so everyone knows, whenever we say Shethinkers at the end, I always do jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
Alright, let's talk about trolls.
Oh, fuck. How many did we... I think I nominated like 12 trolls for the week, so I don't know what
We
ones
just have
actually
4
got in.
for...
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
There will always be too many trolls.
Okay.
So the first
Too
one
many trolls
is
to deal
rape
with.
culture in a Missouri town.
Oh, God.
Apparently, rapists getting convicted of rape is terrible.
Hey, remember how that thing happened in Steubenville and it was fucking terrible?
Uh-huh.
Well, the same goddamn thing happened in Maryville, Missouri. Actually, along the same timeline, just it didn't get publicized very much until Anonymous found out about it.
Oh, good.
And even worse, the boys, I don't know if it's worse. I guess the same. The boys who raped a 14-year-old girl and a 13-year-old girl, the charges were dropped. And as it turns out, one of the guys who was raping people, just coincidentally is the grandson of a former Missouri state representative. So,
oh, really?
But that has nothing to do with it, apparently.
Oh, totes not.
Even though the girl was found pretty much unconscious on the lawn in the cold, left for dead with bruises and horrible marks, and yeah, and there was video. The prosecutor assigned to the case decided that they didn't have enough to go forward.
That's not enough evidence.
That's not enough evidence.
If that isn't enough proof for you that we live in a fucking rape culture, when having a
I don't
video
know.
of you being fucking raped isn't sufficient evidence, then yeah.
Her and her 13-year-old best friend.
Yeah.
And not only this, but in the months after the rape happened, her family was harassed. She and her older brother went to the same high school. She and her older brother were harassed at school, and eventually their home burned down mysteriously. I don't think they ever found a cause for that, but I believe they have moved at this point.
They have.
And just today, she actually wrote, I think it was for XO Jane, is the publication I read it in, but the victim, the 14-year-old victim, not the 13-year-old, actually wrote an article about her experience, and I believe it was published in either Jezebel or XO Jane. That's where I read it anyways. I don't know where it was originally published. So yeah, you should look that up and read it. If you can handle it, it is pretty horrific. But yeah, fuck those guys. That whole town, I'm gonna say, is a troll.
Fuck that town.
Except for, apparently, the police who dealt with it did a pretty decent job of dealing with it to begin with. It was the prosecutor that dropped the charges.
How often do you have cooperative police
I know,
dealing with
right?
rape?
They're the home of the spoof hounds.
Home of the rape hounds. More
Yep.
like, fuck you guys.
All right, next troll.
Maryville, Missouri. All right, who is it?
Next troll is a transphobic GOP executive.
No.
I know, it's shocking. Just wait,
So
they're going to show
surprised.
up a couple times
I don't think
this
I'm
week,
looking
I think.
in the right spot because I don't have this on mine, but I know who you're talking about.
Dirty Nerdy, are you not prepared?
As always, I'm not prepared.
That's because you're too busy arguing with trolls.
Look, she's going into the.
I'm not arguing with trolls.
So Todd Kincannon, it starts off horrible and just gets worse. The first Todd Kincannon tweet says, "There are people who respect transgender rights, and there are people who think you should all be put in a camp. That's me."
I do want to interrupt here just for a second. I'm being told by a listener on Facebook that our mics are still off. We're gonna keep going until we get confirmation, but I just want to put it out there. We might be suffering technical difficulties for some people.
Shouldn't be. Are they listening to the wrong link? Because that's pretty possible.
Okay, let me find out. You guys keep talking.
Okay. So, yeah, apparently I need to be put in a concentration camp. So that's cool.
Yeah,
Can I be in camp with you?
Okay.
How are they going to separate us? They can't really do it by gender. I mean...
I like, when I was reading an article about this, they were, like, talking about what kind of camp, and they're like, I'm pretty sure these are, like, the bad kinds of camps, not the kinds like Camp Anawana, or a place where you would, like, sing Kumbaya.
Yeah, if that was the one and only message, then... You know, that would be one thing, except
because I've heard that before.
He continues to dig himself into a hole by trying to defend his transphobic bullshit.
I don't see how you can defend that at all.
Well,
what? I just said you deserve to be put in concentration camps.
But
what's so terrible about that?
His defense was like, what? I would totally support throwing them into mental institutions and having the state support them in that way. It's like, no, stop.
You know what? People used to support also sending women who were being too disrespectful into mental institutions.
Right?
So, no, I don't accept that. I don't care if they're being taken care of. No, they're not.
Well, also,
they're being
I would love
imprisoned.
to know what he's basing this information off of when he's going on and on about how there's people out there that are gay, or they're Jews, or they're all those other things. They can't choose to be those things, but when it comes to being trans, you're choosing.
I believe I have the answer to that. Let me get this right. It's Jesus.
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 Yep.
Jesus says the trans can't choose or something.
But I would like to just say, though, I would like this not to be the troll of the week. I would like this to, even though he totally is, I would like this to be the boss of the week because of all of the people, all the allies that came out to say, you're fucking stupid. What the fuck are you talking about? I think those people are bosses, so...
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
Yep.
The fact that he kept digging a hole is pretty hilarious.
But
First rule of holes, man.
First
Put a
rule of
vibrator
holes
in
is
it.
to stop digging.
It's a troll hole.
Yep. Alright, next troll. Hey guys, guess what? Apparently, if I ask somebody to write for Shethinkers for free, because we don't pay our writers on Shethinkers, because we aren't rolling in dough or anything, and they say no, apparently I shouldn't call them a whore. Newsflash.
Hey, so since I have a donation link on my page, does that make me a whore? Because since I'm trying, I mean, you don't have to give me the money. It's nice if you would, but does that make me a whore?
I think that just makes us sluts because we give it away for free.
Okay, and we'll take payment. Like,
and we'll take
if
tips
if
if
they're
they
like,
give it.
hey, you want to go out for dinner?
So
Yeah.
I'll read your blog post and I'll take you out to dinner.
Does this mean that anytime anybody does anything that can get them money, that makes them a whore?
You know, I think that means if you have a job, you're a whore.
Yeah.
All of you
You're
job
only doing your
whores out
job
there.
for money.
Let me strap on my job helmet. Put myself in the job cannon.
Fly off to job lands where jobs grow on jobbies.
I was gonna say job whore land.
Job whore land.
So yeah. Anyway,
So what's the backstory on
Well,
all
the
this?
backstory-
That's what we're talking about.
So Deanne Lee is a blogger, a science blogger, and hang on, she was approached by, is it Scientific American?
No,
It was
No,
biology
that's
online.
an affiliate of Science.
I'm sorry, yeah. They asked if she would write for them. She said, what kind of money does it pay? They said, it's for free. She said, no thank you. I don't have time to write a free blog right now.
The thing is, and okay, just tell them what their response was, and then I'll go.
Okay. And their response was calling her a whore.
And here's the thing, they said, are you the urban scientist or the urban whore?
Yes.
Yeah,
And we all know what urban means.
Uh-huh.
Just so anyone who hasn't heard this, she is a person of color, which they're already underrepresented in the sciences.
STEM careers.
In STEM careers. So it's like, no. We all know urban, what that is a dog whistle for.
Yep.
And the thing is, Dory actually did a sort of, shortened what the emails were. She didn't even, it's not like payment was the only thing she asked them. She asked them what their parameters were and shit. And she was like, what exactly goes into this job? How much do you pay? You know, the things that you normally ask when somebody approaches you to do your professional work. And he goes in to say that he explained that they don't pay and explained all the other things, and then when she declined, she didn't give a reason. She just said no thank you. It was a very polite decline. And so then he assumes that she declined because there's no pay and just called her a whore. And it's like, what?
An urban whore.
An urban whore. Again, racial dog whistles there. Oh god.
I kind of love that she's adopted urban scientist as her blog handle.
I do love that. No, that was already her blog handle.
Oh.
Yeah, that was already hers. So I guess he just thought he was doing a clever play on words. Guess what, guys? Misogyny's still not cool even if you use a pun. In fact, it might be worse if you're using puns or wordplay, whatever you
I
want to
think
call
for
it.
racism.
I think the great
And
thing
racism.
that she did was a lot of people would call this drama, or that they're causing a stir over nothing. She did write a blog about this on Scientific American and said, hey, this happened to me and that was pretty shitty. They actually took it down.
Mm-hmm.
Took it down and said that it went against what they normally do on their blogs. But here's the thing, if you talk to other bloggers on that site, they don't have really any rules. I mean, there's a couple, but they basically allowed to write about whatever they want. And she wasn't cursing, she wasn't showing her nipples or anything crazy. She was talking about an actual incident that happened.
What's
to
wrong
her.
with showing nipples?
And I think
Dory just showed her nipples.
I
This
think
is
my God.
controversial.
I think they were just trying to clean up and act a problem of theirs because the people in question had an affiliation with Scientific American, so they were trying to clean up this monster. But I will say that the person that did say this to her did get removed.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Probably
here's
because
the thing.
everybody found out about it on the internet and went, oh
This,
my gosh.
Doubt that would have happened if she hadn't,
Told everybody.
gone
Exactly.
viral.
I'm going to say this sort of has a happy ending, if it can. Apparently, the guy's handle was Ofek. I don't know what his real name is. But apparently he was fired. And Scientific American, I believe, ended up putting the post back up and doing an apology.
It's back up.
It's back up, yeah. They put the post back up and they sort of apologized. A lot of people are saying it's a non-apology, but I don't know. I didn't read the whole thing because, whatever. They were bastards for doing the thing in the first place. But it has created this whole new, pretty much a wave of women in STEM careers coming forward with their sexual harassment stories over the past week. And while it's disheartening to hear those stories and know that it's happening, I think it's a good thing that it's opened up kind of the floodgates for us to talk about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and you want to know why you don't have more people of color and women in STEM careers? This shit right here is
Could
why.
it be because of harassment? Who knew?
God damn.
If you constantly harass and microaggress people, marginalize people, they're not going to want to be around you, and that means not wanting to join your professions.
Right? All right.
Well, this is a.
I don't really have any scientific studies on that on hand.
I
but,
think the most important thing to take away from this is if you treat people like shit, they might not want to hang around in your circles. And
That's
so
true.
Maybe we should stop doing that.
Hey, don't be shitty to people. Good
Woo.
lesson.
Try
Don't
not
be
to
trolls.
be a cunt.
Don't be trolls. All right, our last troll is Oprah.
Yes.
Oprah!
Apparently, Oprah likes to tell atheists that they're not really atheists because she doesn't know what an atheist is, I guess.
Oh, man.
Well, I think it's because she has a skewed version of what she thinks God is
She
in
does.
the first place.
She has what's probably the typical vision of an atheist. But she had the long-distance swimmer Diana Nyad on her show. This is the woman who swam from Cuba to Florida without, any kind of assistance or anything. So she's pretty badass. And she's 64 years old, P.S.
I think she would know what it is by now.
I was like, you would never go up to anybody else of a religious affiliation, or at least Oprah wouldn't, and say, oh, but you don't really believe that.
Right.
It's like, what?
So
she doesn't even do that to the bullshit psychics that come on her show, or that used to. I don't know if they still do.
I'm sure she still has Deepak Chopra on from time to time.
And
it's like,
that's the part that pisses me off. She'll have that dude on, and she'll be like,
and she'll
up
totally
his words.
eat it up.
Yeah.
But then this woman who's like, I experience awe and wonder at the universe, is apparently not an atheist because she experiences wonder and awe.
Because that's God.
Mm-hmm.
If you're experiencing something wonderful, that's God. Maybe under your definition, Oprah, but under most people's definition, it is actually a deity, a kind of being. And she even tries to mock that and say, like, oh, it's not that old man in the sky. Really? Because I'm pretty sure...
A lot of people say that's what it is.
A majority of people think there is a white bearded dude in the sky, or maybe not white bearded.
Well, and here's the
but,
thing. If you're just going to change the name of God to be the sense of wonder that you feel about the universe, then okay, you won. I believe in the sense of wonder that I feel about the universe. Congratulations.
I made a picture in Paint earlier, and that picture is God.
Oh, okay.
So I can share it on when we share our notes for it. I actually did paint a picture of God. Probably. I did it in less than 2 minutes, so you'll be awed that I was able to do this in less than 2 minutes.
I want to say, there was a time when,
I'll post it on the notes.
A friend of mine asked Kylie to draw a picture of God when she was a little younger. And, I obviously didn't raise her to believe in a God or whatever. But she did draw a being. It happened to be a woman. And wearing like a white robe type thing. So it's funny that even someone who isn't raised with much of a concept of a god still imagines some kind of entity. And I know a lot of people like to have this deeper spiritual meaning to what God is, and that's totally fine. Einstein did it, and that's cool. But majority of people have a being in mind, like Thor or Zeus or, Yahweh or whatever. Sorry to burst your bubble, your spiritual bubble there, Oprah.
I would like to say I saw quite a few atheists, not too many, maybe because I don't hang out with too many asshole atheists anymore. And by that, I mean atheists who are assholes. But I did see a few of them, I don't want to say chastise, what's the word? I'm fucking drunk and on pain medicine. Criticize Nyad for going on to say, she kind of stepped back a little bit in her interview with Oprah and said, well, to me, my definition of God is humanity and is the love of humanity. And she tried to keep going, but Oprah kind of cut her off a little bit. And it's pretty obvious from the transcript, Oprah didn't really let her finish what she was saying. But I think Nyad was just realized that with the audience she was with and the person she's talking to, she kind of had to back off a little bit and go for, I think she was kind of going for that Einsteinian type pantheist God that Shara was talking about. So I wouldn't criticize her for that. No.
Well, and here's the thing. The only requirement to be an atheist is you don't believe in deities. That's it. You can believe in ghosts and all kinds of other horse shit and still be an atheist.
Wait, I believe in unicorns, but that still means I'm an atheist?
Well, I believe in Bubbles the unicorn.
That's the unicorn I meant.
Yep.
For anyone who hasn't listened to our other episodes, and if you haven't, you go fucking listen to them. But for now, Bubbles is our gender-neutral mascot.
Yay.
Z is a unicorn.
Bubbles is our Z-thinker.
Z-thinker.
Yay.
But yeah, so Oprah Winfrey pretty much was like, nope, you can't be an atheist because of that awe. And then when Naya tried to explain it further, she was like, well, I don't call you an atheist then if you believe in that. And then made fun of the definition of God that most theists actually believe in. So, yeah, she was just all over the place there.
Yeah, she
Basically.
pretty much insulted almost every single person on the planet with that one, so that's really good on you, Oprah. But I think the best part is if atheists are upset about how she responded, you must also be upset at Dave Silverman, who responded with a funny face at Bill O'Reilly talking about the tides going in and the tides going out. Maybe she wasn't expecting that kind of stupid from Oprah. I mean,
right.
Maybe she was a little bit taken aback by that level of stupidity.
I mean,
who knows?
I watched the video, but it's even funnier looking at the transcript because Nayad tries to explain what she says, and then Oprah starts interrupting her, and all you see on the transcript is Nayad going, okay. I mean, saying
the transcript
okay,
is funnier.
It is pretty funny reading the transcript. Saying okay over and over again is pretty much like the universal, at least American English sign of my brain is switched off and I just want you to stop talking now.
Basically.
Stop. STAH.
But was she our last troll then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so
our nominees for trolls are the rapey Missouri town.
Oh God, so rapey.
Transphobic GOP asshole. What is his name? Ofek, who called Deanne Lee a whore.
Oh.
Urban whore.
Suggested that she was an urban whore.
An urban whore.
Gave her the choice
And
to pick that.
Oprah.
We want to keep our journalistic integrity here. Whatever.
I think we're gonna lose it when I finish this drink.
Okay.
All right, so who's our troll? Shayra, you start.
I think the person that was making me want to punch walls the most was this GOP dude with the trans stuff. But transphobe. But I would like to suggest, if you're wondering why I'm choosing that, go look up this story and read all of his tweets, and see if you don't punch walls after reading all of them.
I actually almost cried when I first read it. It was like bad. A punch to the gut. It was ridiculous. Dory?
You know, when someone tells me I deserve to be in a concentration camp, I'm gonna vote you to be Troll of the Week.
Yeah.
Sorry about it.
Automatic win.
I think we might have a tie. Can I actually give half my vote?
Oh, look.
Can I split my vote in half? No, because I really just fucking can't stand that goddamn Missouri town.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
you can vote for the Missouri town.
I think that the GOP guy, fits the more traditional internet sense of the word troll, you know?
Yes.
Because he was definitely trolling on Twitter.
Oh, he totally did.
And he's fucking awful. But then again, that Missouri town just, really gets me. Especially since I read her, I don't want to say side of the story because, fuck it, there wasn't another side to this story. It was all her side. But especially since I got to read what she had to say about it today. I'm going to split my vote in half. Say I vote 50% for the trolly Twitter guy. I was going to add another T word to that, but I decided not to.
Trolly transphobe.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yep.
And the other 50% will go to that entire Missouri town, because fuck them.
All right, so I guess our transphobic trolly teabagger is our troll of the week.
Yes.
We're gonna unleash George Takei on him, but it's a different quote this time. George Takei, what do you have to say about this?
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
Well, thanks, George Takei. What's going on over there?
I am being informed that apparently trans people already are being put into camps and shit in
other countries.
So yeah, as my friend C would say, this is beyond I was joking territory.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and move the other 50% of mine onto the troll guy.
So he unanimously won Troll of the Week.
I don't think that's ever happened. Fuck.
George Takei.
Damn, we might have to play another troll thing.
Yeah, he needs to get his ass beat.
Do we have unacceptable?
Do you guys want to let Crazy Eyes take care of this?
Let Crazy Eyes. Give him to Crazy Eyes.
Because Crazy Eyes will definitely take care of this shit. Crazy Eyes, take it away.
I will cut you! I will cut you! Don't make me cut you! You will
yeah.
I think Crazy Eyes is like my favorite character.
She
in that
is.
show. I love.
I can't wait
You know
for
what?
the new season.
I really loved it when she peed on the floor. That was so great.
When the new season comes out, should we just do a
Oh,
all-night
yes.
thing where we just watch them
When
all
the new
and
season
then do an episode?
comes out, everyone come over to my house, so we're just gonna binge watch the hell out of it.
That means all of you awesome people out there in the Dallas area, let us know and
Yep.
we'll have a little get together.
We already need to binge watch Harry Potter, Dory.
All
But we can
right.
talk about that. We'll talk
We'll
about
talk
it later.
about that during Harry
That's
Potter.
later.
In trouble.
Okay, so bosses of the week. These make me happy.
Okay, we can have
I
happy
love
time.
the bosses.
Our-
Crazy Eyes, I'm nominating you our boss just because you made me smile.
So our first boss is fucking Malala Yousafzai, man.
She's always a boss. Like,
Yeah.
if we don't say she's a boss, just assume that she is.
It's like her and Wendy Davis are always boss, and then like Pat Robertson and Ted Cruz are always troll.
So
yeah.
what makes her particularly boss-worthy this week is that she had a meeting with President Obama, which is pretty cool already.
Yeah, and
But
and
she
her
had the
book is out.
ovaries to be like, hey, President Obama, you need to stop sending drone strikes on my fucking country.
Wow.
Holy fuck. Oh, where's the
It wasn't
quote?
just like, oh, I'm going to shake your hands and it'll be a nice little PR stunt for both of us, blah, blah, blah,
Exactly.
whatever.
I don't know.
She's a
I don't
true
have a quote
activist.
for what she exactly said to him, but this is what she said about the meeting. I also expressed my concerns that drone attacks are fueling terrorism. Innocent victims are killed in these acts, and they lead to resentment among the Pakistani people. If we refocus efforts on education, it will make a big impact. Boom.
Boom.
Holy
That hurt my
snap.
back. You have to remind me not to do shit. That'll
I'm
hurt
a
my back.
boss. Thank you, Malala.
I just
she
want
is
to
a
say,
boss.
I want to say there are so many people that hated on Daniel for talking about drone strikes during Obama's election. They thought he was a total dick for it. Malala just fucking pwned the president on this shit, so fuck all you fucking haters. That's all I have to say.
So, go Malala, even more this week.
Yes.
Even more every week. She just gets awesomer.
Yep.
All right.
Awesomer.
Next up are,
Some more kids who are awesome. Yay, next generation, you know?
Seriously.
Malala, Jazz, all these kid activists need to come together and just be like, haha, we win.
basically. So, our next bosses are two sisters who were featured on, is it Friendly Atheist?
It was the Friendly Atheist, but I think him at Meta wrote about this.
So it's two sisters who are competing to raise the most money for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Yep.
Pretty awesome. Actually, Dirty Nerdy and I did some fundraising for this as well with one of our atheist groups.
We did Hug an Atheist at the Fort Worth
Worth
Pride
Pride.
Parade. It was fun. But you're missing out the other part. There's actually more to this story. There's the two sisters that are raising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and then there's also a little girl who's, I think she's 7. Was she 7 when this happened?
Oh yeah,
or is she 8
7.
now?
She's 8 now, but
She's
she was
8 now.
7 when she started.
She last year, her name is Lila. She saved over $200 by doing chores, and then she donated all of it to Toys for Tots. And this year, she's going to donate all of her savings for the year to the Uganda humanist schools. She said, "My goal is to pay tuition for 2 kids to attend school for 4 years. This includes meals and uniforms. I would also like to fundraise to help with improvements. I'm reaching out for your help. Please donate, and let's change the life of someone in need." We will have this link up in our notes, so if you feel so inclined, you may. They have links so that you can go and help them out. But I thought that was really cool, and it kind of like gives me more faith in this generation.
I gotta say, like, I mean, I work with kids for a living, and like, they got their shit together. I can't wait for the next generation.
Next generation's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah, and then the other half of the story is there's two sisters who are raising money for the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society by having competing YouTube videos. I believe so far they've raised almost $700 for the society.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome.
So we got some awesome people coming up in the ranks. Way more awesome than many adults.
Seriously.
Yay, young people.
All right.
Our third boss of the week.
I haven't even read about this one.
It's another trans story, but this one. So, Trans Advocate is a fucking awesome blog. If you're a trans person, you should totally check it out. Or if you're a trans ally, you should totally check it out.
I'll check you out. What?
Yeah.
Were we talking about something else?
So, how have you guys heard about Daily Mail? UK?
Yeah.
Oh, they're so transphobic,
Aren't
right?
they basically like the Fox News print version?
Yeah, they're
in the UK. Yeah.
They're
Okay.
just bullshit. Is
Well,
what they are.
they came out with a false story about a trans person harassing cis girls in the bathrooms in California.
Yep.
Urban legend.
And Trans Advocate was like, let me journalist that. Nope.
It's not even let me journalist that. It's let me Snopes that.
Yep.
I mean, you don't even have to go further than Snopes to find that shit.
I mean, they contacted the people that were named in the story. So they did pretty legit journalism. They contacted the people in the story,
I'm
and
a
they were
real
like, what the
journalist.
hell are you talking about?
I'm a real journalist. I don't need to fact check shit. That's what they basically say. That's what a Daily Mail,
Wow.
Fox, a whole bunch of other people, they all fucking think they don't need to be checked out on their facts, and they will actually talk down about people who do fact check. They'll sit there and go, oh, all those fact checkers out there. It's like, that's not an insult to us.
That's
We
your-
Oh my god.
actually
I actually had
like to tell
somebody
the truth.
on Facebook the other day block me because I gave them facts about welfare. And they were like, blah, 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 I don't have to listen to you. And I'm like, okay, I just thought you might want facts. And then they blocked me.
Fuck your facts. I like my delusions.
So that's pretty awesome. Hooray. And I mean, the transgender bathroom predator myth,
Ugh.
and it's a myth because there's no recorded case of it ever happening.
Just like there's no recorded case of anybody smoking marijuana to death.
Yeah.
But Dory's made a good point earlier. Maybe I should let her make it, but...
Well, not only are there no cases of trans people assaulting cis people, or even a cis person pretending to be trans to assault cis people in bathrooms. However, there are cases of cis people attacking trans people in bathrooms.
Oh, lots.
I don't know why we never hear about that whenever we're talking about it. This is what drives me crazy. Is like, people just want to piss, man. Like, there's fucking stalls. You can't see anything anyway. What the hell do they think is going on in bathrooms?
I mean, didn't we just have this discussion about
Yes.
trans people in bathrooms?
I'm so sick of this bullshit.
And how, like...
I wrote a whole fucking blog article called "I Can't Believe I Still Have to Talk About This Shit."
Yeah.
Pretty stupid. I mean, the other thing is Americans are finally embracing the family bathroom, where you have little boys and little girls and grown men and grown women and anybody you could think of just going to the bathroom, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of problems with those family bathrooms, and nobody's freaking out about those bathrooms, but apparently because it's called family, it's not scary, dangerous predator land.
Fuck our stupid gender segregated bathrooms.
Seriously.
Why can't they just all be family
I don't-
bathrooms? Fuck it.
Seriously.
I don't care.
Not family, just here's a place
Well, that's
where
what
you
I mean.
can piss. Like, I don't know what you want to call it. Like,
I mean,
A bathroom?
bathroom.
at our
Piss hole.
where I work,
Just call them piss hole.
where I work, we have 2 bathrooms. They don't have labels on them. They're just bathrooms.
I don't like labels.
And if people ask them, like, they're gender neutral, you can't go wrong whichever one you go into. One of them has a urinal. So one's for standers, one's for squatters. Do your business wherever you want to do it. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
And the kids, you know, guys and girls are all in the bathrooms together, and nothing bad has come of it in the 4 years that I've been there, so obviously it's because they're queer.
All you do in there is go to the
All
bathroom.
you do is go in, do your business, maybe, like, fix your hair or makeup or something if you're into that sort of thing.
I don't know.
Wash your hands. I don't know, like, there's nothing serious going on in the bathroom.
The only thing I can think of, which a friend of mine, again on Facebook, been chatting this whole time, multitasking, brought up is the fact that sometimes it is uncomfortable going into a private space where, like, for women, going into a private space where men can follow you. And I get that because, like, I haven't had a situation in a bathroom per se, but at the gym, I was harassed one time by a dude, and it was nice being able to go into the locker. I mean, he could have followed if he really wanted to. It was like late at night. There's no one else in there, but he didn't.
I did.
So I would
do
suggest
that back in elementary school. Whenever
single
the boys would
stalls
chase you.
with giant locks, I guess.
Well, yeah, a lock on your
say
stall would be great.
Stalls generally have locks, so I don't know.
But I do remember using the girls' bathroom, boys' bathroom thing during tag when I was in elementary school. We would run in there, and that'd be the safety zone because the boys weren't allowed in there. So we would go, you can't come in here, and that was about it. That was the extent of the importance of the girls' and boys' bathroom.
I have a funny bathroom story from my childhood.
Okay, funny bathroom story.
So I used the girls' bathroom until like I was 4, because, like you do. I would usually go into the bathroom with my mom, and they didn't have family bathrooms back in the 80s, so my mom was like, fuck it, I'm taking my kids into the bathroom. So I was pretty used to going to the girls' bathroom. When I first started daycare, I needed to pee, so I went into the girls' bathroom, or tried to, and this teacher, I guess, is that what, I don't know, daycare worker person?
Everybody just called me a teacher.
Okay,
yeah.
so
that's acceptable.
This teacher ran as fast as she could to grab me and be like, "Oh no, you need to go in this bathroom." And
we did not have gender segregated bathrooms at any preschool that I worked at.
Yeah, none of the preschools I've worked
They were
at
like,
either.
"You're going to the toilet? Yay!"
Yay!
I don't give a shit which one.
Yeah, I don't know. They were like, "Oh no, you need to go in this bathroom. See, it's a little boy wearing pants. That's how you can tell." And I looked at her with my hand on my hip. I was like, I can read. I know which bathroom I'm supposed to go into. But she made me go in the boys' bathroom, and it was the first time I'd ever seen a urinal. And so it's like, I don't know where you're supposed to sit on this.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
It was. So that's my weird, funny bathroom story growing up.
I don't know if I have any weird bathroom stories.
Oh well. Next boss.
Yay, next boss.
Margaret Sanger. Hooray!
Yay.
Mother of Planned Parenthood.
Oh yeah. Like, what did she do this week? That was awesome.
Well, this week, I believe it was the 16th, was the 97th anniversary of Margaret Sanger's very first birth control clinic.
Yay!
Opened up in Brooklyn, New York. She got arrested for it within the same year. Basically, there were laws against selling birth control or advising women how to control.
And at that time, in certain states, and not in all states, but in many of them, there were laws against birth control or prescribing it, buying it, whatever. Same weird type of laws that they have now about marijuana.
Even talking about, what the crazy Catholics and everyone else go on about, even talking about natural family planning birth control was illegal.
Wow.
So that thing that the Catholics now tout as okay with God was illegal back then?
Yep.
Did God change his mind, or did they?
I don't know. But, 97 years of helping women get birth control so they can have control over their own goddamn bodies. Hooray.
Yay.
That's exciting.
Yep. So, who are we going to vote for boss? We have trans advocate for busting transphobic bullshit, Margaret Sanger, awesome kids, or Malala, another awesome kid.
All right, I'm going to break precedent here and vote first.
Oh, wow. Malala.
Malala is my boss this week.
All right.
I love her.
She's
for obvious reasons. Do I even really need to explain why?
No, I don't think so. Okay, well, I already showed solidarity for my people with the trolls.
Your people.
So, I think I'm gonna go with the fundraising kids, because that just gives me, so much hope for humanity.
Well,
I mean, Malala does too.
Yeah.
But she's, always a boss. She's just fucking awesome. So I'm gonna give it to these kids, because they're not likely to be in our bosses of the week again. Let's be fair. Unless they just end up busting the bank on their fundraising, in which case, hooray. Shayra, how about you? Got Malala and fundraising kids.
I have to go with the kid that stood up to the president on one of the things that I would totally stand up to the president about if I ever got the chance to actually speak to him. And also, just because there was a bunch of conservative people talking about her this week saying that if she was Christian, that somehow we wouldn't care about her and the president wouldn't meet with her and Jon Stewart wouldn't interview her and all this stuff.
Wait. They're saying that if a Christian girl had been
shot in the head by other Christians,
advocating for education for women, and then shot in the head and survived and came back to write a book, that they wouldn't be talking about it?
No, they wouldn't care about
There's
her.
a goddamn 5-year-old who almost died from natural causes, I think it was an accident or something, and came back and wrote a book with his dad, and he was touted all over the goddamn media because he saw heaven.
Yeah, but
Fuck that bullshit.
Jon Stewart won't interview him because he's anti-Christian, apparently.
Oh, whatever.
Whatever. Fuck that noise.
So yeah, I think I want to go with Malala just because of the stupid fucking bullshit that people are saying about her on a particular side.
That so pisses me off. Everything Christians do is just like touted all over the media. Fuck that.
No.
God.
They are persecuted because the Crusades. That was actually said in this exact podcast.
What?
Oh,
The Crusades were Christians persecuting Muslims?
Oh, no. It
What?
was the Muslims
They were
persecuting
defending
them.
themselves from Muslims.
Yeah. If you have to listen to that, I'll show you. It's on Right Wing Watch.
Okay.
It's really
So-
If I wasn't already in a lot of pain right now, I would just ram my head against the wall. Oh, God.
So
I cannot stand it when people who are part of, like, the privileged majority go around claiming that they're persecuted and shit. I'm just like, fuck you.
And
you
nobody,
don't even know.
Nobody
you don't
does.
know.
Nobody does it like the Christians, man. Except maybe MRAs. But
Bras. I'm gonna call them bras from now on.
Bras.
Because they sound almost like bras, and I hate those too. So, bras.
all right. So we've been trying to figure out what to do. It's
For our
easy.
bosses?
It's easy to come up with stuff to play for trolls.
Yeah. Everyone likes yelling at trolls.
Everyone likes yelling at trolls, but it's hard to come up with something sufficiently awesome for bosses. So we've been thinking, and we're going to try out a new segment where you get to hear awesome speeches in honor of the bosses. So this awesome speech is by J.K. Rowling, and it's about how failure makes you a better person. So enjoy.
So why do I talk about the benefits of failure? Simply because failure meant a stripping away of the inessential. I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything other than what I was, and began to direct all my energy into finishing the only work that mattered to me. Had I really succeeded at anything else, I might never have found the determination to succeed in the one arena where I believed I truly belonged. I was set free, because my greatest fear had been realized, and I was still alive, and I still had a daughter whom I adored, and I had an old typewriter and a big idea. And so rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. You might never fail on the scale I did, but some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. Failure gave me an inner security that I had never attained by passing examinations. Failure taught me things about myself that I could have learned no other way. I discovered that I had a strong will, and more discipline than I had suspected. I also found out that I had friends whose value was truly above the price of rubies. The knowledge that you have emerged wiser and stronger from setbacks means that you are, ever after, secure in your ability to survive. You will never truly know yourself, or the strength of your relationships, until both have been tested by adversity. Such knowledge is a true gift, for all that it is painfully won, and it has been worth more than any qualification I ever earned.
Audible.com is offering a free 30-day trial for you, the listeners of Shethinkers. To check out their service and download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. This week, we personally recommend I Am Malala, the girl who stood up for education and was shot by the Taliban, by Malala Yousafzai. Yes, you heard right. We're recommending her book 2 weeks in a row because she is just that awesome. To download your free audiobook today, go to www.audibletrial.com/shethinkers. Again, that's audibletrial.com/shethinkers for any free audiobook of your choice.
Nope.
And
not
we're
here.
back. Yay.
Yay!
Woo! Commercial breaks are fun for us.
I found lyrics.
Because we
by
get
the
to
way.
go pee.
I didn't go pee. I'm gonna regret that later.
I call dibs on next one.
Fuck. If you didn't hear that, that was me saying fuck.
Brr.
So,
Okay.
Oh my god.
it's time for some people's favorite segment. Stupid
Won't be
sexist
anymore.
song.
Won't be anymore.
We couldn't find the lyrics to this one, so bear with us.
I found links that said they are the lyrics.
No,
But
I
they're
went there
not.
too. There's no lyrics there.
So,
It was too sexist for the internet,
it's
guys.
too sexist
That
for the
is-
internet.
The internet
Too-
wanted it to
not
not
even-
exist.
Sexist doesn't even really cover it. It's too fucking creepy for the internet.
Yeah, that's.
But, so the name of the song is
Oh,
Who's
man.
Going to Take My Daddy's Place
Oh god.
by Marcy Blaine. This sounds like the kind of shit that they play at, like, purity balls or something. So, alright, let's just get it over with. Ready?
No.
Okay.
Who's gonna take my daddy's place? Who will give me lots of love?
Wait, stop it.
Your daddy is giving
I'm-
you lots of love?
I'm pretty sure the love your daddy gives you isn't the same kind of love that
Yeah.
your lovers give you.
I sure hope not, anyway.
Unless, like, her dad died or something and she's actually looking for a stepdad. I don't think that's what she's doing.
I don't think so, though.
Oh,
Let's keep
Marcy
going.
Blaine.
Gonna take my daddy's place. You're the boy I'm thinking of.
Well, that solves the stepdad.
When I was
Hypothesis.
just
Your daddy's not a
little
boy.
girl, sitting on my daddy's knee.
Are you okay, Amy?
No, I think. This is so terrible.
I don't know what's going on in this
It gets
relationship with
worse.
her dad.
It gets worse.
Oh.
I don't think I want to know.
Didn't have a care in the world, 'cause daddy took good care of me.
Wait. So she's looking for a boy who will take her daddy's place to take care of her.
Yes.
Yeah, so she doesn't have to worry about stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She doesn't want to worry her pretty little head about anything,
I prefer to win the lottery. I mean, why can't we sing about that instead?
right?
Now I am a big girl.
God.
On your own, they say, but even big girls need someone who will lead them every step of the
Oh,
way.
no.
No.
You fucking don't.
No.
I don't need anyone who's going to lead me every step of the way. Why would anyone want that? Why?
Feminist rant now.
I hope you like feminist rants because it's kind of my thing. Oh, God. Oh.
No, and you're not a big girl. You're a grown-ass woman.
Yeah.
You need to start living your life like a grown-ass woman.
Again, this goes back to my problem with calling women, adult women, girls and babies.
Mm-hmm.
You should not be fetishizing the idea. I mean, baby refers to an infant human. Girl refers to a child female human. It's no, you should not be using that. I mean, it's different. I don't mind it when my mom does it because she's my mother. I'm not expected to have an adult type of relationship with her like that. Oh,
But you know
this
what?
is so terrible.
Okay, my mom does call me baby.
That doesn't bother me because she's my
But,
mom.
and it did bother me for a long time. Like, there was a time, you know, when you get near puberty and you're like, I'm not a baby anymore. And then I grew up and I was like, okay, I get it. You birthed me. I'm your baby.
Yeah, I went through that
whatever.
too, but, you know.
So I'm fine with my mother calling me baby, but if anybody else calls me fucking baby, I will fucking punch them in their fucking face. Like, don't call me that. And I will say this also. I even get uncomfortable with the terms girlfriend and boyfriend just because of the girl and the boy in it. I know that it doesn't mean that, but
I don't really
something
like
about
those
it-
either. I don't know what else to use though.
Daniel and I call each other partner, or
That feels like a
say that we're engaged.
business relationship.
I just hate girlfriend, boyfriend. Like, it sounds like it doesn't matter. It sounds like you're in high school still and you don't really.
I'm gonna say Chris and I used partner once we moved in together, because again, like boyfriend or girlfriend doesn't really convey the seriousness of the relationship.
It's like I really.
So that's when we were
mean-
like, this is my partner.
I mean business. It's business
Yeah,
time.
it's business. It's business time, partner.
Got my business socks on.
And
that's it.
Yep.
All right, let's
But-
listen to more of this bullshit.
I just want to throw out there that I feel awkward because Chris calls me baby sometimes, and I don't really care. But that's me.
Hey,
So
we're all different. I feel very upset when someone calls me baby. I don't know why.
I'm gonna say I don't care if Chris calls me pet names because he's allowed to.
Yeah, if I've told somebody that they're allowed to do it, or if we're in a situation where if we're in a relationship where it's typically okay for them to do that, like in a sexual type relationship, then I deal with it. And if it bothers me, I'll tell them it bothers me. And if they don't stop, then fuck you. I'm not gonna be in that relationship with you anymore.
Yep.
But yeah, I really don't like being called girl. Or I don't like being called lady or sweetheart or baby either. I don't like being called any of those.
With certain people calling me honey. I remember I went to this very country kitchen type eatery, and there was a woman there, and she's like, "Oh, honey," and she kept on calling me honey, and I was totally fine with it.
I'm gonna say
It was
I'm
like
okay.
the only time it was fine.
That's kind of a southern thing. I don't know.
I'm okay with girl just because I live in the queer world.
That's
So,
true.
It's like, girl, you need to fix that shit.
Oh.
There are certain cultures
Context.
and contexts where it means something different, but in general, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So
But if someone says, "Let me tell you something, sweetie," when you grow up, I'm like, "Oh, shit about to go down."
So I'm gonna jump back into the song.
All right.
okay, let's go ahead.
So who's gonna take my daddy's place?
God.
Who will give me
Hopefully not
lots
someone you're
of
having sex with.
Who's gonna take my daddy's place? You're the boy I'm thinking of.
Oh.
You are a big girl, you're on your own, they say.
But even big girls need someone who will lead them every step of the
Oh
way.
God, no, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. Ah.
I need someone to comfort me when I'm feeling sad and blue.
All right, I need that too, but that doesn't mean that they're my daddy or that they're in charge of the rest of my life or are
Right.
going to lead me by the nose in every decision. Fuck.
You can get that like from friends and lots of places, not a daddy replacement.
Yeah.
Your psychologist.
That's
Your therapist.
Your therapist. And if you think that your husband is going to replace your daddy, you probably need a therapist. This reminds me of purity balls. I bet they play
I
this
know.
song at those weird ass
I can see
Christian
him
purity
dancing
balls.
right now.
Oh God.
Someone
The image
whenever things go wrong
burned in my brain.
will always know what's best to do.
I'm sorry. I just want to point this out. I've been in a lot of relationships where the person I'm with isn't very good about figuring out what the best thing to do is. And we need to have a discussion and come to a compromise before we decide what's the best plan of action. Just say it. Like, we have discussions and figure out what's the best plan of action. Instead of like, oh, I'm just going to depend on this other person to make the decisions for us because I'm just a dummy.
It reminds me of one time Chris was watching this story where this woman was being interviewed and asked...
Watching my stories.
This woman was being interviewed and asked some kind of political questions, I can't remember. And he said this woman at one point during the questioning answered one of the questions with, "That sounds like a husband question." And Chris was like, if you ever say that sounds like a husband question, it's over.
Unless it
Deal
specifically
breaker.
has something to do with my husband's genitalia that I don't necessarily have to do with. No, it's not a
He
husband
was like,
question.
unless it has something like if it was about swimming mechanics because I'm a swim coach, that might be acceptable. But you would never phrase it that way. I was
No.
like, no, I'd be like, I don't know, my husband knows more about that than I do. Maybe you should ask him.
God.
Or if it was like a joint decision kind of thing, be like, I need to consult with my husband and we need to come to an agreement about that first.
Oh.
Wait,
Like big
like
purchases.
your partners?
Yeah, I was gonna say like big purchases. I'm like, I need to talk about that with my husband before we decide
Like
to do that.
business partners.
Right?
I like using that voice.
Business partner.
I have referred to Daniel as my wallet occasionally.
Well, if that's what he has.
But sometimes.
Gold diggers.
Well, no, okay, it's not even that. Like, because we have different pay periods. So, like,
Yeah.
sometimes he's the one that has the money, and sometimes I'm the one who has the money. So sometimes when I don't want to
Gasp!
purchase something,
Shock!
sometimes when I don't want to be the one who purchases anything or makes the decision on purchasing anything, I play the dumb girl role. Yes, I will, and I'll be like, I need to go consult my wallet and see if this is something worth purchasing, and then I run away.
I
don't
like-
have to purchase it.
I like playing the dumb girl role when it gets me out of something right then and there.
Yeah.
I've done it to like the mall people
It's
that
our
come up to you.
privilege.
I'm even blonde,
No
so I
privilege.
get like double dumb blonde points.
You're like, I don't understand that. Let me go talk to my
I
fiancé.
do it when the salespeople at the mall won't leave me alone, and I'm
Exactly.
like, I really like this. What is this a phone? I don't know. Technology. I don't know. I need a man. I need my man to explain this to me.
I don't understand technology.
I love it.
Ew!
Ew!
Ew! She needs someone
Okay.
to scold her.
Now this is definitely getting into the Christian patriarchy quiverful thing, because there are actual blogs. You can go read them. They're blogs of women living in these types of households where their husband will spank them and discipline them.
Well,
I saw it in the movie
Chris
McClintock.
spanks me from
Not-
time to time, but
not
that's
for
not.
Not a consensual kind of spanking.
No, it's consensual, but it's not it's supposedly not sexual. You can't convince me that it's not sexual. But yeah, if the husband comes home and the kids have done something wrong, or if the house isn't clean or whatever, they'll discipline the children first. The husband will. But then he'll also go and discipline the wife for not being able to control the children.
Okay,
Are we sure this isn't foreplay? Cause
I don't know.
I'm not.
it might be. I think it could possibly be. This could all be a foreplay thing.
Maybe she's playing a part. Maybe this is a scene.
Yeah.
Say maybe they're just like
It's a fetish.
It's
It's,
a
a
fetish.
fetish song.
I could see that.
role-playing thing.
Yeah, scold me, daddy.
No, that's creepy for me. I can't do that in bed. For
Well,
me personally,
other
I don't know
people
about other
can.
people.
Other people get off on it.
Right.
I've talked to people that get off on that.
I'm gonna say every fetish is weird.
Yeah.
They're all weird. I'm just saying. They're weird to somebody.
That's true.
This could
So-
totally be a
It's true.
fetish song. I bet there are some people getting turned on by
Oh,
this and are gonna have
oh.
sex to it tonight.
My friend just told me what it's called because I couldn't remember. It's called Christian domestic discipline.
Yeah, there we go.
Go Google that shit.
Go Google
It's
that
fucking
shit.
weird.
Carry on with the old daddy's place, and who will give me like love? Who's gonna take my daddy's place? You're the boy I'm thinking of. You're the boy I'm thinking
imagining a woman dressed up like a cute little girl, and she's like, hi, and then, you know, she sings a song to him, and he's like wearing a suit and tie, like Leave It to Beaver style, you know.
Gonna say, hey, you know, like, playing with gender norms can be hot sometimes, you know.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look at this as a fetish song, and that's the only way I will be able to function with it.
It certainly sounds like a fetish song, so I think that's a...
So, okay, now it's hot. No.
I don't know if it's hot, but I'm sure it's hot for somebody.
Somebody.
Alright, so do we want to do breast cancer myths next, or do we want to talk about Batman and psychology?
Ooh, that's tough.
Ooh. Neither of these are my segments, so I'm going to let Dory and Shayra enter the Thunderdome and hash this out.
I could go next, I guess.
Okay.
So I have a book review for us this month. It's really awesome, and actually, the writer likes Shethinkers, or he likes Secular View, so this makes it even cooler. But the title of the book is Batman and Psychology: A Dark and Stormy Night by Travis Langley.
Cool.
It's pretty sweet. I don't know. I like books that are like intellectual versions of nerdy things, like philosophy and South Park and those kind of goofy
I own
things.
so many of
The
these
physics
books.
of Star Trek, you know, like those kinds of things are just fucking awesome.
Yes.
So a friend of mine and Chris's got this for me for Christmas last year, and I was like, oh my god, this is like the perfect gift I didn't even know I wanted.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know it existed. And,
oh yeah, your friend did get that. I forgot.
Yep.
Forgot where you got that book.
And so it's pretty cool. It's definitely written for like a layman understanding of psychology, so you don't have to be like trained in psychology for it to make sense or anything. In fact, it's actually more geared for it if you think Freud is what psychology is based on, then you need to pick up this book.
And you are 100 years out of date.
Yes.
Well, Amy is suckling on her cord right now.
I was not. I was moving it from my boob because it was tickling me.
But so the awesome things about it is it walks through a lot of different psychological concepts, including like different mental disorders, the study of resiliency, and all kinds of cool stuff. And it uses different characters from the Gotham universe to explain them. So like
this could be used in a Psych 101 class.
It really could. Like it's a Psych 101 class, but it uses Gotham to kind of explain it. Like you're gonna get most of the same stuff you would get in a Psych 101 class. So if you're a psych major or a psychologist, it's not gonna be like you're not gonna learn anything new, but it's still really nerdy and enjoyable anyway. And
I've taken 2 Psych 101 classes. So should I read this book?
Yes, because it's awesome. Because even if you already know all the concepts that they're talking about, it's just so fun to... I love trying to diagnose characters just because it's fun to do.
Which we'll be talking about later.
We will be talking about with Harry Potter, so this is a perfect...
I like it with Winnie the Pooh because it's pretty easy and obvious. So.
Right. Well, and I think writers to some degree kind of do it on purpose.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. That's how you make characters.
But I mean, like Harley.
Make them with mental illnesses.
That's
a little.
But I mean, like
you make them quirky and interesting. If they're all same blah vanilla, then it's not exciting. So.
I mean, like Harley Quinn, for example, is like a textbook example of histrionic personality disorder.
I don't know what that is. Can you?
It's
explain?
Harley Quinn, basically.
Yeah, it's Harley Quinn.
Like overly dramatic, is constantly falling in and out of relationships.
Could we possibly transform the name into Harley Quinn?
Personality disorder.
Personality disorder.
I mean, the personality disorders are hard to study in psychology anyway,
That's true.
so they're kind of contestable to some degree, but...
Well, anything is contestable.
But as far as, like,
Your face is contestable.
As far as, like, the DSM definition
I'm drunk.
of histrionic disorder, it's pretty much Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
For, like, to the T.
I think you could transform it to Harley Quinn, and actually that might educate people.
And of course, narcissistic personality disorder is obviously the Riddler.
want to read this book now.
It's awesome.
I do too.
Totally pick it up.
Because basically, if I read it, at that point, whenever I want to explain to somebody what different disorders there are, I will just refer to Batman characters. I'll be like, this is the problem.
And I think one of my favorite sections was talking about Two-Face and whether he has dissociative identity disorder. By the way, not called multiple personality disorder.
Yes.
I learned that from Dory.
And
Dory.
also not schizophrenia.
Not schizophrenia, not multiple personalities. It's dissociative identity disorder.
Just so everybody knows, the only mental health discussions I get into that I don't turn to Dory for are ones about depression and anxiety and panic attacks, because I actually suffer from those. And have become, I wouldn't say an expert, but I know quite a lot about it, at least from experience. But any other time I get into a discussion about mental health, and Dory can back me up, I will go to her and be like, hey, what do you think about this?
Is this a thing?
Is this a thing, or is this not a thing?
And if this is a thing, what is it called?
Exactly, because here's the thing, I think it's important, especially if I'm going to talk about this issue and try to be an ally for those dealing with issues that I'm not dealing with, that I get it right. Because it does no good for me to jump into a conversation and be like, that's multiple personality disorder, and then they're like, no, you're fucking wrong.
So you need to read this book.
I should read this book. I mean, I know quite a bit of psychology just because I have had to take 2 classes on it. They looked at it from 2 different angles, but they were still
That's cool.
both basically 101. But yeah, if you're wanting to be an ally for people with mental illness, it's a good thing to listen to people who have it and listen to the experts who know about it. So if there's someone in your life who's an expert, or someone in your life who has it,
Or you could just,
go read about
send a PM
it.
to Dory.
Send a PM to Dory on Facebook.
What is this?
I can't wait until
I'm kidding.
I can't wait until I have a PhD so I can be Dr. Dory.
Aww.
You're Dr. Dory to me. You play doctor
Hey,
later.
we're going back to the whole fetish thing.
Oh yeah. I like that fetish though. All right.
Doctor fetishes are a lot more
So,
popular.
Batman psychology book, awesome. I'm gonna
Totally.
read it next. Is it on Audible?
I don't know.
Shit.
Hey, if it's not on Audible, Travis, we would be glad to be the voice people for your
Yeah,
book.
if you need an
I'll read your
audiobook,
book. I'll read it all sexy
I'm
like.
gonna say we will totally read it.
And I'll. Never mind. Go ahead. Okay.
Hey, Shayra.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you something.
Yeah?
You're doing it wrong.
Oh,
What am I
shit.
doing wrong? Oh God.
Today's You're Doing It Wrong is going to be based off of this special month. It is the month of October, and but I want to just point out something very important, and this is probably the most important thing to all of us here at Shethinkers.
I just really love them. Fuck, I love boobs though. I just wanna rub them. Oh, they're just so juicy. They make me feel groovy. I would rather watch boobs than a movie. They don't need to. I just really love boobs.
I do just really love boobs.
Boobs are great.
We have a special affinity for this song.
Yes.
Yes.
And actually, our little Shethinkers anniversary is going to be coming up at Skepticon, so
Skepticon.
Woo, Skepticon.
we have to celebrate with that song in some way.
But
Skepticon is where Shethinkers was conceived.
Yes.
not born.
Not
Conceived.
born.
Conceived.
It had to gestate for another 9 or 10 months.
We'll let you think about that.
Yep.
So Shara, we all know that you love boobs. So what is your?
What can we do to protect our boobs?
Yes, that. I'm too drunk to actually do a segue.
Yeah, no.
Segue.
We love boobs, but there is something important about boobs. Boobs do tend to get breast cancer, and there are myths about how breast cancer has occurred. So, basically, we're going to discuss those myths. We're going to try to destroy them and help people here at home look at their boobs in a different light. If you will.
I saw Dory's nipple again.
Oh, and
my daughter is here. She is just pointing out that she is right now growing them, and she wanted to point out that it's very painful.
It is very painful. As somebody who grew them 5 years ago, again.
So wait, just be really quick with it. Go ahead.
All right, so Corbin, my little cousin, he's a 1, and he doesn't know much. He, whenever only when they're hurting like the most, he just like tries to rip it off of me.
Yep.
Like takes it and rips it, like tries
God.
to rip it off of me, and I'm like ah. And
That's what
like,
happens when you hold babies with boobs. They're like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want this.
And she's growing them, and she's new
Oh,
growing
that's
them,
the
so they're
worst.
small, and so
That
it
is
just,
the worst.
it fits in the palm of a little baby.
I have a
hand.
funny, not baby, but small child grabbing boob story. I used to work at a church nursery, and I loved that job. I just want to put it out there. But I worked in the 2 and 3-year-old room, and so occasionally, they're 2, they're in 3. I'll get kids who aren't dropped off in strange places very often, and they'll cry. And I try my best to comfort them and everything. And there's this one little boy who came into the room, and he was just so upset. I felt so bad for him. It was like the worst thing that anyone had ever done was leaving him in that room. And so he finally let me just like hold him and sit him in my lap and like, hug on him. And suddenly I felt a little hand on my boob, and it just squeezed, and it just held there, and he stopped crying. And the other volunteer, who was, I think, a mother of one of the children, looked at me and was like, oh, gasp, he's touching your boob. And I looked down and I was like, is he crying anymore? No? All right, I don't care.
I don't care.
So that's my funny boob grabbing story.
One of my kids has a niece who is, I think, a year old, if not younger. And apparently she does not like strangers, but she loves me every time that she comes to the youth center. Because babies always love me. I don't know what it is. But
I think I know which baby you're talking about.
yeah. But when she first saw me, she leapt out of his arms, like threw herself toward me. And so I was like, oh, shit. And
you have
caught
nice
her.
assets.
Yeah. I was going to say, so I caught this baby, and then she's like, I'm going to put both my hands on your boobs, and I'm happy now. Because that's what babies do.
Sometimes they like that,
Boobs make them happy.
She has awesome hair, too. That's my favorite thing about that baby. And that baby just
Oh, I thought you were
goes-
talking about Dory.
No. Well, you have awesome hair. Apparently longer hair than Dirty Nerdy was aware of.
Shut up. I'm not observant. So what are these myths that you're talking
Myths.
about to get
Yeah,
the
we
Okay.
should probably get back to that.
to get the heat off of me?
All right, so one of the myths is that only women with a family history of breast cancer are at risk. Completely false.
Wrong.
Roughly 70% of women diagnosed with breast cancer have no identifiable risk factors. What it does say, if a family member of yours does have breast cancer, you might be more likely to get it. But it doesn't mean that because you don't have any family members that have it, that you are not at risk. So definitely keep in check, even if you don't have it in your family history. Let's see. Wearing an underwire bra increases your risk of getting breast cancer. And I know that you love this one, Dory.
I do.
Underwires.
All of my bras have underwire in them because apparently if you have anything bigger than a C, you are forced to have underwire in your
They
bras.
need to be held up with wire.
I mean, I will say, like, if I don't have underwire in my bra, like, that shit'll just slip right from under it. So
Yeah.
I acknowledge that I do need underwire in my bras,
it's not
but
gonna
it
give you
doesn't
breast
make it
cancer.
any less of a pain in the ass.
Underwires can be uncomfortable. This week, I put on my bra. It's getting, we were talking about ages of bras at one point in time.
Is it showing its age?
Yeah, at about 6 months, it's too old. Like, bras age way faster than us humans.
Yeah.
So,
And
it-
6 months is like a good quality bra
Yeah.
lifetime.
Yeah, so it was about at the 6 month mark, and
bam, the underwire came up and jabbed
Oh
me in the
man,
boob, and I
that's
was
the
like,
worst.
Oh, and it was when I was out though.
Yeah.
That it happened.
And then you have to like deal with it for the rest of the day.
I have a rash on my boob still from that damn underwire poking me in the boob. Oh my god, I hate it. So underwires suck, but they're not going to give you breast cancer. So it's okay to wear underwire. It needs to hold some of our boobs up. Our boobs,
Yeah.
as in our.
Yes.
me and Dory and Amy's boobs. We need support. So.
We're well endowed she-thinkers.
Yes,
That's-
well endowed she-thinkers. We need the underwire help.
Hey guys, leave something to the imagination, okay?
Okay, we don't have well endowments.
Nope. We just have big personalities.
Oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Okay, the next myth is most breast lumps are cancerous. We have a lot of lumps in here.
Yeah.
This was one of the things that I found when I went to school. They were trying to teach about checking your breast, but they didn't teach it very well. They were talking about lumps in your breast, and of course, what do? I go home, I feel that I have a lump, and I'm like, Mom, I have cancer! I'm gonna die! And she's like, calm down. What did the school teach you? Not all lumps are cancerous.
Did you feel your milk duct back there? Is that
Most
what it?
likely. Most
What is this shit? Is it supposed to be there? Like, yes, sweetie, it's supposed to be there because that's kind of what they're there for.
That's kind of what they do.
The thing you want to look for actually is you want when you're checking your breasts, you want to check for changes.
Mm-hmm.
So get to know your boobs, touch them, rub them, love on them. Same thing with dudes and their balls. You need to be touching yourself so you know what it feels
And-
like, and you can see if something has changed.
Dudes can get breast cancer as well, so
True.
they should probably also be able to check
Basically, touch yourself a lot. in every
Masturbation never killed anyone. Just
that.
saying.
That is always my answer, is to touch yourself a lot. That's always my
place.
advice.
Touch yourself a lot. There we go.
Thinkers.
Touch
Masturbation.
yourself a lot. This was
Ow.
endorsed by us.
We should totally do a commercial about masturbation.
We
sometime.
should.
Definitely.
We'll have Alien on it. I know she'll be totally about that. The next myth is exposing a tumor to air during surgery causes cancer to spread.
What the fuck? Are we living in ancient Greece? Like, who thinks exposing something to air will make it
It's one of the four
cancerous?
humors.
Is it a bad humor? Like,
Don't overbalance your air humors, guys.
who believes
Is
this
that one of the
shit?
four humors or five humors? I can't remember.
I don't
It's
know.
not. It's not one of those like mystical element things. I don't remember.
All I know is that your response to that it meant I didn't have to talk about it. It's that stupid.
Okay.
You mean having surgery isn't going to magically expose you to cancer-causing air?
Speaking of surgery, the next myth is breast implants can raise your cancer risk.
Ooh.
Not true.
Yeah.
It can make your boobs bigger though. I've heard.
Well, they're implants. I thought that was the point.
I don't know.
I don't think it's more than possible for it to make your boobs bigger. I think if it didn't, you would need to have a conversation with your surgeon.
Excuse me, what did you do?
I would like to point out that when it comes to any type of surgery, it's always best to talk to your doctor about all risk factors and not just listen to a podcast of a bunch of drunk women talking.
It's true,
But
it doesn't
in general,
it doesn't cause breast cancer. You're inserting something into your body. I guess I don't know. It's just I'm not even gonna go there. Fine, talk to your doctor.
yes.
But no, it won't.
Disclaimer: we are not doctors. Yes.
Everyone's laughing and riding and cornholing except Buster.
Poor Buster.
That was perfect. The next myth is all women have a 1 in 8 chance of getting breast cancer. This is not true if you're going off of age. So if you're in your 30s, you have a 1 in 233 chance. It rises to 1 in 8 by the time you reach 85. So it's pretty old age. So whenever you hear that statistic, it is mainly talking about elderly women.
So if I die right now, I will not have a 1 in 8 chance of getting breast cancer.
No.
Well, and the same is kind of true for guys with prostate cancer. Like,
Yes.
if you live long enough and you have a prostate, chances are pretty good you'll get prostate
It
cancer
gets
at
a
some
Just
lot
point.
because
higher.
you're living longer.
Basically.
It's
Like,
basically,
if I live long enough, chances are I'll live
Cancer
longer.
is very-
I can't think of something I know.
cancer is very
Fuck it.
likely the older you get. So,
Yeah.
I mean, any kind of cancer, really. The next myth is wearing antiperspirant increases your risk of getting breast cancer.
Oh man, I've heard so much shit about wearing antiperspirant.
Yep.
It's all that aluminum. Or aluminium, if you're
Aluminium.
British, since we're gonna
Or
go to
if
Harry
you
Potter
play,
land.
or if you play Minecraft, it's aluminum in that. Ha!
Oh, it's.
Kylie just yelled out Minecraft for some reason. I don't know why she said it like that.
I don't know either.
But Minecraft's pretty epic, so I guess it causes
Aluminum.
weirdness.
I don't know, but wearing antiperspirant doesn't give you cancer.
No.
So
It
The
doesn't
next-
really keep you from sweating either, at least not in my
it's not
experience.
keeping me from sweating.
I've heard there's prescription stuff, but I don't know. I just don't want to stink. That's all.
I'm
I
gonna say
avoid.
I've never had deodorant that actually works. Like, I just go like, what smell do I like? Because really, that's all that it's gonna do.
Yeah.
I just use men's deodorant because it works better for me.
Man deodorant.
Yeah.
Man, dear, and
I haven't found a women's deodorant that works well for me.
see,
Or
we,
None
at
of them
all.
work well for me, so
Hey,
I'm just like, whatever.
Well, by well, I mean at all.
if you want to sound fancy, what you do is you call it deodorant. Sounds much fancier.
Sounds like Dory's name is in that too.
It does.
Dio
Dorian?
Dory.
The
It's
next
a Dory
myth,
repellent? I don't want that.
the next myth is small-breasted women have less chance of getting breast cancer. I don't even know why anyone would say that.
I guess they just wanted to throw perks out there for the itty bitty titty committee.
It might have to go with that whole lump thing. Like, I guess if you
My
have
lady
bigger
lumps?
breasts, you have a lot
Your
more.
lovely
Oh.
lady lumps.
I
Not that, like, the lumps inside your boobs. You might have more lumps if you have bigger boobs, maybe. I don't know. And so maybe people think that just because you have a lump, you have cancer. Maybe that's a correlation. I have no
Maybe
idea.
they just think like, well, more square footage of boob, therefore more chances
More
of
chances.
boob cancer.
Yeah,
more
maybe.
square footage.
I don't
How
know.
much
Doesn't
boob do
work
you
that
have?
way.
Square inch? I don't know.
If you have
I'm
to
drunk.
measure your boobs in square footage, damn.
I just want to measure mine in pounds. Just be like,
Like, that just reminds me, a while ago, like, I had started at the gym and stuff, and I was wanting to lose weight, and I guess the boy was trying to make me feel better or something, and he was like, no, I don't think you need to lose weight. It looks like it's all in your boobs anyway. I was like, sweetie, I gained like 30 pounds in 2 years, and that's not, my boobs don't weigh 30 pounds. He's like, well, not each.
Oh my gosh.
so
The next myth. Breast cancer always comes in the form of a lump. No.
man, what is this obsession with lumps?
My lovely lady lumps. Or was that humps? I don't remember.
I don't know.
I don't think lumps are necessarily lovely, but
They just want to get on my lumps. Just want my lumps.
okay, so here's the things you want to be focusing on. You want to be focusing on color changes. If there's any new kinds of lumps or if anything has gotten bigger, you might want to pay attention to it. But a real key factor is little, like, I don't even know how to put it, like dimples?
Like little
Dimpling.
divots or dimples?
Yeah, that's something to pay attention to. I'm not saying lumps don't happen though. Someone very close to Daniel and I has breast cancer right now, and she had a very, very large lump, and it was definitely breast cancer. So
We're all looking at our boobs now.
yeah, it's time to inspect your boobs. Go
Okay.
right now.
I don't have divots, but I have stretch marks.
You also want to look at redness, scaliness, or thickening of the nipple or breast skin, or discharge other than breast milk coming from your nipples.
I'd be concerned even if I had milk coming out of my nipples right now.
Yeah.
The other thing is you want to, if you want to inspect a real key area, you want to get into the armpit, breast area. That is a key area. I mean, almost everyone I've known who's had breast cancer, it has been in that general
area. I don't know why it's that area, but that is the
It's because of the
key.
deodorant, man.
That's where that myth must come from.
Yeah.
The deodorant.
It's that damn deodorant. Yeah, but look in your armpit. A lot of people don't connect the armpit with the boob.
It's part of your boob.
It's part of your boob. So check out your armpit boob area. That is definitely somewhere to check out.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, when it comes to not showing off your boobs, when I was younger and, like, my boobs started growing in, I was never sure how much armpit I was allowed to share, because I was like, where does
my boob start?
Where does my boob start? And the same thing with my ass, because, you know, I'm white.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where does
does
your
my ass
start?
start?
Or end?
Or end, yeah, it just kind of, my back just kind of has a crack in it.
I'm very aware of where my ass starts.
I'm sadly not, apparently.
Crack?
We're getting personal here on Shethinkers.
So, the next myth is you can't get breast cancer after a mastectomy. It's not true. This is something really awesome that Angelina Jolie did. She knew about the risk based on her family, so she went and got stuff removed, added stuff in. That doesn't mean she cannot get it, but she did
It does reduce
risk
her chances.
so much. It's very, 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 very good at reducing your risk. And I believe it was Christina Applegate. She got breast cancer in one of her breasts, and she got both of them removed and got implants just to make sure she doesn't get it again. And she could still get it again, but it definitely reduces the risk, and it's good. So,
Oh, and
it
by
won't
the
eliminate
way,
it.
you don't get to have an opinion about what women do with mastectomies or any of that shit, because you don't own them, so...
Oh my gosh, what a concept.
I know.
I'm pro-choice.
But when people were going off about, oh, I can't believe Angelina Jolie cut off her boobs, blah, 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 whatever, I'm like, they're her tits, man. She can do what she wants with them.
Fuck you, she's awesome with or without them.
Fuck off.
And we have great surgeries now. We have people that know what they're doing. Surgeons are capable of making us really awesome nowadays.
Even if she didn't want implants to replace them,
Yeah.
I'd still be like, all right, they're your tits. Do what you want with them.
Did she replace them with implants? I don't
She
even
did.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't care.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie is
Because,
amazing.
as we
I love
learned
her.
today, getting implants doesn't increase your odds of having breast cancer.
Apparently.
Okay,
I
so
did you bad humors.
next
I
myth.
forget what I've learned tonight.
Your next myth. Your father's family history of breast cancer doesn't affect your risk as much as your mother's. False. It doesn't matter. It's DNA. It's fun and it's exciting and it's a roll of the dice.
Hooray.
So, basically, father-mother stuff does not matter. I don't know why anybody listens to those old wives' tales anymore. Next myth. Caffeine causes breast cancer. No.
Next
Not
myth.
proven this.
Nope.
I mean,
We just need Lana, a drop of Lana saying nope.
Nope.
Please.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. You're baby crazy, Lana.
Have you guys
Hang on,
seen the
hang
end
on.
of 4th season?
Hang on.
Nope.
Lana. 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 Lana!
What?
Danger zone.
The next myth is, if you're at risk for breast cancer, there's little you can do but watch for the signs. No, there are things you can do.
It's not like your horoscope, man.
No, I mean, it is actually physical, so you can actually do stuff. Oh boy. So, you might want to lose weight. Obesity has something to do with it. Getting regular exercise has something to do with it, which I don't do. Lowering or eliminating alcohol consumption. Oh shit.
I only had these 3 drinks.
Being rigorous. Being rigorous about examining their own breasts. I do that.
I rigorously examine mine a
Are
lot.
you rigorously examining
Me
your breasts
too.
right now?
I rigorously
I'm doing it
examine
right
other
now.
people's breasts too,
And
when
having-
they consent.
and having,
Enthusiastically.
and having regular clinical exams and mammograms. This especially is important the older you get. So, Definitely get checked out. And quitting smoking wouldn't hurt either.
Woo!
Which I did, and it's been a couple months now, almost 3 months actually, that I've quit smoking. And I've been smoking since I was a young teenager, so kind of a big deal.
I think I quit smoking 5 or 6 years ago. It's been a while.
It's been a long while.
I don't even get, like, if I smell cigarette smoke, I don't even get cravings. Like, I'm just like, oh god, I can't believe I smoked.
I don't
like if
get
I
cravings from cigarette smoke smell. I've never had.
If I smell a different kind of smoke,
Oh yeah, definitely.
then I'm like, that's something I'd like to be doing right now, but not cigarette smoke.
Next myth:
Next
women
myth.
with lumpy breasts, also known as fibrocystic breast changes, have a higher risk of developing breast cancer. Bullshit.
So Lumpy Space Princess won't get breast cancer.
Yay!
Or she just doesn't have a higher risk.
Right.
I don't understand.
Does she have breasts? Would
I-
it be called breast cancer?
I don't know.
Or just like regular cancer.
Lumpy cancer?
Okay.
I don't know.
This is the one that I think Dory thinks is the most important for people to know. This myth is annual mammograms expose you to so much radiation that they increase your risk of cancer.
God damn it. This is like vaccines supposedly causing autism. This is so fucking ridiculous.
Please go get mammograms and check your
Please.
boobies. Please do it. It will not increase your risk of cancer. So go check your boobies and have other people check your boobies.
For all the mammograms that people get, you'd think we wouldn't have noticed by now if there was a statistically significant increase
Yeah.
from getting mammograms.
And along those lines, next myth, needle biopsies can disturb cancer cells and cause them to spread to other parts of the body.
Here's those medieval ideas about disease again.
It's like a bunch of mumbo jumbo has been put into everybody's heads. The next myth, after heart disease, breast cancer is the nation's leading killer of women. This is not true. Breast cancer kills roughly 40,000 women a year in the United States, but stroke, 96,000 deaths, lung cancer, 71,000 deaths, and chronic lower respiratory disease, 67,000 deaths, are each responsible for more deaths annually. So it is important to focus on this, but there are a lot worse things for women as far as their health, and I think we should be focusing on a lot of this stuff. Strokes, especially, it's huge.
And this is what annoys me about the whole like consumerism around breast cancer bullshit. Like,
Yes.
don't even get me started on that shit.
Oh,
But what
there's
annoys
a great
me,
documentary on it.
yeah, what annoys me the most about it is that there are other things that are more likely to kill us than breast cancer, but those aren't sexy to talk about, so we don't talk about them.
Yay.
We can't make stupid little t-shirts that say I love boobies and shit like that and sell those when we're talking about heart disease or strokes. So
We should have we should have another episode that's dedicated to women's health and not just reproductive health, but like all of it.
Yep.
Oh, we will. I'm sure that throughout all of our shows we'll be talking about a lot of health
We definitely need one.
especially considering what we all like to study and
Yeah, right?
like we're kind of obsessed.
But the whole, like, breast cancer is important, don't get me wrong. It is not as proportionately important as people have made it out to be, I
Sure.
think.
I get really
There's
pissed off
commercialism around it.
when I hear people say shit like birth control or abortions cause breast cancer, or you shouldn't take birth control because it increases your risk of breast cancer. But I'm like, there are a few correlational studies that sort of show that, but there are more studies that show that it actually dramatically decreases your risk of ovarian cancer.
Right.
And so it's like, okay.
Well, and,
I won't go out in the sun anymore either, because that'll give me melanoma, probably. I'm really white.
Yeah.
So.
when Chris's, I believe it was his mom, was like adjusting to the fact that her son was dating a trans woman, she was like, well, her hormones increase her risk of breast cancer, which is true.
Yeah.
He was like, Yeah, but they, like, eliminate her risk of prostate cancer, which is also true.
I love Chris. It's amazing.
Oh, logic.
But even taking that, like, it's way more dangerous of me getting, like, blood clots from my hormones than breast cancer.
Yeah.
Like, again, heart disease and stroke is higher up on my rank of shit I should worry about
Right.
than breast cancer.
I mean, that is high up for almost all
Yep.
people to care about and to be concerned about. And a lot of people are not knowledgeable on strokes and heart disease.
Luckily, I get plenty of cardio
And Americans
workouts
are
in
just
the
full
week.
of fucking stress. I mean,
And
that
this
really
is
fucks
this
with
is
your
what I
body.
really do want to do a whole episode just dedicated to women's health, because the signs and symptoms of stroke and heart disease, or stroke and heart attack and things like that, are actually different in women than they are for men.
True.
Or they can be. And this is something that wasn't even recognized until like a decade ago. They're like, holy shit, this means something different for women. So yeah, I really think we should dedicate a whole show to these issues.
Well, we can do it for each issue too.
Yeah, we
and,
could,
and
probably.
get an expert on to talk about those specific things.
Yay, experts!
You know, we do know Skeptic RD.
I was gonna say
We do, I'm
know
friends with
a
her.
couple of people that would be experts on this and probably would educate us. So that would be good. Next myth: if your mammography report is negative, there's nothing else to worry about. Bullshit. And this is something I like to say to all sicknesses and stuff.
All tests, really.
All tests. Just because it says negative doesn't mean you shouldn't worry about it. Please not continue to worry. I'm not saying, have issues, but don't think that you're fine. There's a lot of times where a negative is just temporary, and then things can change. So make sure to regularly get tests, and always rub your boobies rigorously. Next myth: hair straighteners cause breast cancer in African American women.
What?
A large 2007 study funded by the National Cancer Institute found no increase in breast cancer risk due to the use of hair straighteners or relaxers.
I
just
can't even
wanna-
try to figure out what the hell
Can I just say
mechanism they would think would accomplish
the
that.
fact that they had to do a goddamn study on this bullshit, I'm like, just sounds like a giant waste of money. It's like if people didn't just randomly come up with bullshit and spread it around, we wouldn't have to waste fucking all this
Gummy
money.
bears don't cause your hair to turn black. I don't
I mean,
know what's the next
do we
study.
really need a study for that? Really?
No.
I don't.
What part of hair straighteners supposedly cause cancer?
I don't know. The heating element throws your fire humor out of balance.
No, the part that's
I don't know what
problematic
humors
for me,
are.
it's not just that hair straighteners do it. It's that hair straighteners do it to African
Oh
American women.
yeah.
Right.
The racial overtones in that.
That's even better.
Like, that's
Ugh.
the worst part of it. Like, what are you
Because their
talking
hair
about?
is somehow made of different
I
properties
don't know.
than other people's hair.
It's very frustrating.
Well, I mean, there's always these like overtones when it comes to, especially African American women's hair, when it comes to whether or not they go natural or not, and they're kind of screwed either way. It's one of those microaggression, like
Hooray, double standards.
double standards. Like if they don't go natural, then they're fucked by some people, and if they do, then they're fucked by some people.
then you'll get
And-
cancer.
Exactly, and then this is just a myth that I hate it. Okay.
Next myth.
I can't
Removing the
even.
entire breast gives you a better chance of surviving cancer than having a lumpectomy with radiation therapy. This is all dependent on you and
Is
your boobs
lumpectomy
and
a
your
word?
cancer.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's hilarious. I
And-
don't know why.
It's removing a lump. This is all up to your doctor. Seriously, and don't even just talk to one doctor. Talk to 3 or 4 or 5 doctors. Figure out what's best for your boobs. Like, if you find cancer, talk to a bunch of people and figure out, do you want to have your entire breast removed, or would a lumpectomy work? I don't know. I mean, it is all a case-by-case thing. Do not ever just take one person's word for it.
Well, and I'm just going to throw out that boobs are just sacks of fat attached to your chest when you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
right down to it, so they're not worth dying over.
No, they're not.
They're
So,
fun and all, don't get me wrong,
if you need to get
but
them
not
removed-
worth death.
If you need them
removed, fine, and you can always get them replaced with,
Sacks of saline.
sacks of saline, right? The next myth: overweight women have the same breast cancer risk as other women. This is not true. Being overweight or obese does increase your breast cancer risk, especially if you're past menopause and or you gained the weight later in life.
So you're still good.
Okay.
I don't know.
Doesn't mean you're good, but
Well,
the thing is yeah, if you get past menopause and then all of a sudden start gaining a whole bunch of weight, you might be at a higher risk. It doesn't mean that other people are not at any risk. So
Yep.
we're just talking about higher risk things. Yes, being overweight can increase your risks, which we talked about under the exercise part. The next myth: fertility treatments increase the risk of getting breast cancer. Given estrogen's connection to breast cancer, fertility treatments have come under suspicion. But several studies have found that prospective moms are likely to have no higher risk of breast cancer. So, yes, estrogen does increase your risk of breast cancer, as we discussed, but increasing the amount of estrogen doesn't necessarily increase the risks of breast cancer. It's just having a normal dose of estrogen might increase your odds of having breast cancer. Next myth is loading very slowly. Living near power lines can cause breast cancer. Is this like along the same thing with the street?
humors. I'm just gonna yell out humors to all the ones that sound fucking ridiculous.
Right.
She's
Say,
a witch.
how many myths are there?
A lot.
There's only I think there's only two more.
Two more. Okay.
Having an abortion.
Because we've got Harry Potter to talk about.
next
Yeah, I
myth-
really want to talk about Harry
The
Potter.
next myth is having an abortion raises your risk of getting breast cancer.
Bullshit.
Well, I think we just sort of talked about this, and
Yeah, we
it's
did.
bullshit. Abortion doesn't affect your humors at all, so you're good.
Yeah.
In fact, I hear it helps balance them out, because then you get rid of all that excess fetus humors.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
The fetal humor.
fetal humors.
That just means your baby's funny.
I meant the other kind of humor.
Okay, so I
last
know.
myth.
The last myth,
Last one.
and this is probably the most important one: breast cancer is preventable. I mean, not really. You might get it. There's not really a foolproof plan making sure you're never gonna get it. So basically, the best thing I can tell anybody is maybe try to work out, not smoke, not drink so much, but that's really not going to keep it completely away. Even if you got your breast completely removed, it's not going to make it completely go away. So the best thing you can do is just feel your boobs, rigorously rub your boobies.
I'm gonna say, feel yourself up, live a healthy life, and get checked regularly. That's really all you can
And
do.
if you get diagnosed, talk to your doctor and figure out what's best route for you to go down. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be back with Harry Potter after this commercial
Woo,
break.
Harry Potter!
Hell yes. She-Thinkers and Secular View fans, we're planning a road trip to Skepticon, and we need your help.
We need to raise $700 in order to pay for transportation for 10 of our contributors to and from the conference and for our lodging.
Have no fear. This isn't a vacation for us. We will be spending the weekend interviewing attendees and speakers, doing live podcasting at the after parties with special guests, and live blogging the conference, workshops, and talks.
For instance, Hina Databoy and I will record a Battle of the Holy Books. Hina has chosen an annotated Quran, and my weapon of choice will be the Skeptic's annotated Bible. The winner will establish which holy book hates women the most.
If there are any particular speakers or talks you'd like us to cover, please leave a comment when you donate specifying what kind of content you're looking for. We want our fans who can't go to feel like they are part of Skepticon as well. Go to gofundme.com/shethinkers to leave your donations and suggestions.
No need to break the bank on this one. With almost 700 followers on Spreaker and over 1,000 likes on Facebook, you could help send Secular View to Skepticon for less than $1.
Once again, that's gofundme.com/shethinkers.
That's SHETHINKERS, She-Thinkers. And we're back.
Hello.
Hooray!
Hello.
Almost here.
We're almost back, kind of.
I'm almost back. Okay, I'm back.
It's okay. I'm gonna make myself another drink.
Okay.
It's time to talk about Harry Potter.
Oh
I
my
think we
God.
need to start out with that spell that a fan of ours just
Oh.
gave us, Sturdy Nerdy.
A fan of ours just gave us a spell that directly related to the breast cancer myth about abortion. Let me find it. It was Fetus Expellus. Oh, it's amazing.
Now we know.
Now
Not only-
you know.
Not only do they worship Satan, they have abortions.
They also have abortions. That's right.
Taking over Shayra's spot.
Minnie Shayra is now taking over Shayra's spot. Have you read Harry Potter? Have you seen the movies?
I think one.
You think one?
Yeah.
You have to talk into the mic there.
Sorcerer's Stone or something.
Sorcerer's Stone? Oh.
After talking to it.
That's like
Hello?
not even the best one. Yeah, you have to be a little closer to the mic. You're good right there. No, not too far. I mean, not too. Right there. All right. So, man, Dory, what do you want to talk about Harry Potter first?
Well,
There's so much.
We've gone over a couple different angles for it.
Yeah.
We could talk about how a lot of the problems, seriously,
A lot of them. Oh my
of
God.
the problems in the Harry Potter storyline could be radically altered if they just had some fucking therapists
I
in
know,
the Harry
right?
Potter world.
Wait. I always thought the best solution was cell phones.
Can't we just magic it away? I mean, I did have this thing, like, why didn't one of them just bring a gun? Like, Voldemort tries to kill you, and you just shoot him in the face.
Don't they say, like, muggle things don't work around wizards
Only
or something?
around Hogwarts, only in certain places, not around all wizards.
I don't know.
Because, I mean,
So wait a
muggle things
second.
work around Harry when he's in the muggle world.
So magic is supposed to be so much more awesome than all the Muggle world, but cell phones, for some reason, they can't come up with something better than that.
I don't know. I got, like...
I mean, they have owls. Apparently, that's
I
the
remember
equivalent.
reading, like...
That's a pretty sweet ad.
And you have to remember, most of this happens in the 90s. The book isn't set in the 2000s.
There were
and
still
later.
cell phones, I remember.
Well,
Jack Morris.
Not many. There were, like, pagers.
I was gonna say, you didn't have kids with cell phones.
Most
did you?
people didn't
Morris,
have
as
them.
I said.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
don't
say.
know who's Zach Morris.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't
Fine,
have-
I'll Google it.
I'm gonna say, I know who you're talking about, but I didn't have a cell phone until I was like.
Can't Google.
I think I was 16 when I had a cell phone, so
Oh!
it was past 2000.
Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, yeah.
all
Jack
right.
Morris.
My sister.
One of those cheesy high school shows.
I
in the
was
90s.
in, like,
I was not into those though, so I don't feel bad about not knowing right away.
I mean, we do have to take into account the fact that they, like, isolate themselves, and so there you go.
But I mean, like, Harry needs at least like a fucking social worker.
Yeah, seriously.
Because he's in an abusive home, and Dumbledore knows he's in an abusive home,
and sends him
still
back.
sends him back
every summer. And here's the thing, like, the same thing happened with Voldemort, with Tom Riddle. They knew he was in a terrible orphanage, and the orphanage itself wasn't abusive, but they knew that it had bad effects on him. He had bad memories there, and yet they still wouldn't allow him to leave the orphanage. He had to go back every summer.
Yeah.
How shitty is that? It's like, yeah, now I have a place where I belong, where I have family. Oh, but I have to go back to this shitty place every summer.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, Wizarding World. Get with it. Why aren't there any wizarding orphanages?
I'm gonna say, do they not have
Why
like
didn't they have those?
foster parents in the Wizarding World or orphanages in the
Well,
Wizarding World?
They came up with that excuse where, like, oh, Harry's mother's blood is protecting him while he's in this house and blah blah blah.
Well, and I'll buy that for Harry, but that doesn't explain why Voldemort didn't
it
have.
didn't really protect him. I mean, when was it the 4th book where he fights off a Dementor, or the fifth book?
Yeah.
Had to have been the 5th book, where he fights off a Dementor in his goddamn neighborhood. And it's like, no, obviously just living in that house didn't protect him, since he leaves that house every once in a while.
Right.
I think he would have been protected more if he was under the care of wizards who could use magic and shit. It's just bullshit. And it's like, Oh, what was I gonna say?
Well,
I forgot already.
we were having a pretty interesting conversation earlier.
We were.
About basically the wizarding world kind of discriminates against either Muggle-born or wizards that live in Muggle homes for whatever reason.
And we were discussing. They don't really go into it in the book exactly why there are prejudices against Muggles and Muggle-borns. So Dory and I and a friend of ours on Facebook were discussing what those rationales might be, because even in Muggle society there are certain rationales that racists use and stuff, and they're bullshit, but they don't just hate people to hate people. They have some sort of weird convoluted reason for it. So we were thinking that it might have to do with the fact, what was it? It was the fact that for years, like until like the 15th century or so, Muggles sort of knew about witches and wizards and would hunt them down.
So basically, because of Salem witch trials and things like that, wizards are like overly suspicious of Muggles.
And the thing is, like, in the books they kind of talk about witch trials, but their whole take on it was that it didn't actually harm the wizards because they were able to just magic themselves away from it.
I'm gonna say, don't they say like there's? I know they mentioned at least one witch who clearly has like a fetish for getting burned at the stake.
What I did find problematic is that if they're not burning witches and wizards at the stake, then they're burning Muggles at the stake, and the wizards did nothing to stop it.
Right.
Like, there's some innocent person. I mean, the witch would have been innocent too, but you know, there's some innocent person being burned at the stake, and you do shit.
They might have saved some Muggles.
I don't know.
Like maybe the ones that are aware of.
Who knows?
And then there's also my friend brought this to my attention. I haven't read any of it. I've read some fanfic, but not these particular ones. But they're ones written from the point of view of the purebloods.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that they want to remove magical children from Muggle homes and stuff because the Muggles harm them when they find out that they have magic, and they try to repress it and stuff like that. And so that's another reason why they would be prejudiced against Muggles, because even in today's time in their world, wizard children are harmed by Muggles, like Harry.
Right.
Hermione's a good example of somebody who had Muggle parents who were cool about it and were like, sweet, you're a witch, awesome.
That's cool.
But I have this sneaking suspicion that most Muggle families weren't cool about it. And then there's,
Wait, this sounds very similar to other issues in the world.
Oh my god.
Mom, Dad,
Maybe
I'm a witch.
Mom, Dad, I'm a mutant. Have you tried not being a mutant?
Well, and Harry's parents like try to suppress it.
They
it
do.
really is like he's coming out of the closet, and they're trying to make him not gay.
They try very hard to repress it. And then there's the idea, which I thought was not brilliant, but I just hadn't thought of it this way, that the reason why some of them are against the Muggle Protection Acts is because what happened was some of the Muggle-born wizards would, before they're, old enough to really know or be part of the wizarding world, they would show magic, and Muggles would harm them, and they would attack the Muggles out of self-defense using their magic, and then be prosecuted for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, but I thought that young children weren't really held responsible for their magic. But then again, we've already seen, at least in the 7 years that the books cover,
we've seen the minister abuse his power before.
Yeah, we've seen the minister abuse their power. We've seen them abuse their power in the past, and we know that it can be abused. So I don't,
because the wizard, like at least the British wizarding world has a
shit,
horrible government system.
I don't know what the other wizarding communities have, and I'm not surprised how in what is it, the fourth book with the Tri-Wizard tournament, that they're not very confident about working with them. I can see why.
It's a dictatorship, man.
Is it even really an election? Because as far as I know...
Well, they have, because they elect Rufus Scrimgeour in the
him?
6th or 7th book.
But they don't have any term limits. Like,
I mean, to say, yeah, I don't...
What's his name was prime minister for like 15 years or something.
I'm going to say, yeah, the last prime minister was the prime minister through like the entire series, I think. Like they talk about whoever was there before him.
An election in a magical world.
I know, right?
I wouldn't trust
in a
an
world,
election.
I mean, even in regular like even in American
Even
Muggle
in
world
Muggle
right now,
elections.
there are arguments over voter registration laws and shit like that. And fraud isn't very fraud doesn't play a huge role in American elections. But if magic was involved, they've got Polyjuice Potion, they have altered memories, they have all this shit they can do.
Hell, they can just transfigure your.
They can just transfigure it. They have
ballot.
invisibility cloaks. They have the Imperious Curse. They have all
I
this
wouldn't
stuff.
trust any elections.
I would not trust elections in the Wizarding world.
No.
And then that goes a little bit more into. I don't know if it really touches the mental illness discussion we were going to have about it, but it does go into the fact that I would not. If I lived in the Wizarding world and this stuff was there, I would not be able to trust anyone. They've got those love potions that are creepy.
You mean the rape potions?
The rape potions? Really? Wow.
I mean, Voldemort's mom rapes his dad for like how long? Like
months.
Months?
It goes on for months. She
Yeah.
uses I mean, how can you not just say this is roofies? I mean, I don't know what else to call it.
It's like super roofies. Like, it convinces them that they're in love with you.
And
it's more than just a roofie.
What's really annoying is that the one person in all the books who's like, yeah,
The social
vigilant,
justice
don't ever
person?
trust anybody. No, I'm not talking about Hermione. I'm talking
Oh.
about the one person in the whole books who, like, constantly tells everybody.
Constant vigilance.
Yes, that. Mad-Eye Moody, he's gaslighted.
Yeah, he is.
Everybody says he's crazy, and I'm like, why is he crazy? 11-year-olds were able to concoct this potion
I'm gonna say, dude, if
in order to extract a confession from
if
somebody.
I was living in the Wizarding world, like, if you really lived in it,
And then he
it's
was
a great-
justified?
It's a great fantasy, like, for children, but if you were really living
Yeah.
in that world, it's fucking terrifying. Like,
Oh, it was Mad-Eye Moody. Sometimes I forget characters' names. I've read these books like dozens of times now, and I still forget character names.
it happens.
I'm terrible at it. That's how I am with like everything, though. But
He's the one that is actually living the way that he probably should be in the Wizarding world.
I know.
Can I ask you guys a question
Okay,
about
sure.
with the Harry Potter books, the fact that it's revolved around Harry Potter, I know it's always bothered me because if we actually wanted to name the book the proper name, for me personally, I think it would be Hermione. Like, she's fucking
Yeah.
badass. She fucking saved his ass so many goddamn times. Like, it's ridiculous the shit she's gone through. She was way more advanced with him in his
Oh, yeah.
than in magic. When it came to everything, she was better. Like, why is it Harry Potter? The only thing that I can think of is
Because
that he
he's
didn't
the
die as a
chosen
baby.
one.
Right.
Like, that
Yeah.
was his special thing.
And-
was it.
If you read, like, you can go through the books, and there's this whole theme. I don't know if it was intentionally written in, but it's this whole theme with Harry going like, why am I important? It's sort of a thing where he's constantly
He
wondering
even knows
himself,
it's not supposed to be
like,
about him.
why am I important? Just because I survived when I was a baby?
Well, and that's why I
Um,
kind of like it, because, like, if you think about it, like, J.K. Rowling was a nobody, so if she was marketing, a nobody is marketing a book about a witch.
I think she
Not
very
likely.
sneakily made the
I'm gonna
female
say,
protagonist.
I'm gonna say
I-
not
that's
likely,
what I
right?
choose
But
to
I
believe.
think she snuck Hermione in as the protagonist because it's a hell of a lot easier to market a book with a male character. It just
Yeah.
is.
And
Harry is an important character.
He is.
yes.
an
Hermione is
important
my
character,
favorite,
too.
hands
Oh,
down.
fuck Ron. I'm sorry.
I don't like Ron.
I think I would be his friend, but through the course of the books and his Ronness, I just don't like him.
We all have friends that we've been friends with forever.
And it's like,
And
yeah,
even though, like,
you can come on this adventure, but you're kind of useless, and you're probably gonna run out on us at some point.
I mean, there are definitely some. If nothing else, Ron's superpower is loyalty.
Yes.
And that's even his test in the 7th book.
It is his test in the 7th book. It's his loyalty, and yes, he's brave, you know, but
I think just having him
he's the clueless.
makes Hermione and Harry better.
Yeah.
So
I think it does.
It's not that he necessarily has anything great to offer other than his friendship to Harry and Hermione.
And sometimes
Which
friendship is the most important thing you can have.
Friendship's important. So
Yeah. So I don't want to downplay that power that he had,
But yeah, there are times where you're just like, oh my gosh, rolling your eyes.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, and
there are still
I
times
love
in the book where Harry even loses Ron as his friend in
Yeah.
the 4th book.
Yeah.
It's so sad, but
It is
he
sad.
never.
Well, the
That's
7th
how
book.
you have a power.
And in the 4th and the
but
7th
that
book, he
shows
loses
his
Ron.
power, like the fact that he can practically destroy Harry, which is
It's
that simple thing.
and
It's-
it really pisses
And
me off.
Hermione,
It's like,
too.
And Hermione too.
I mean,
Yeah.
in the 7th book, yeah, like Harry and Hermione are carrying on when it's just the two of them.
They were
But
pretty much powerless.
They're pretty much like up shit creek without a paddle, just because
They don't
it's
have a
not.
friend.
It's about the three of them. It's about three best friends.
Yep.
And it's like, I understand that Harry spends more of his time with Ron because they're boys and their school gender segregates the rooms and stuff like that. But honestly, throughout the whole series, Hermione, I think, is the best friend of Harry. Just from her actions. Maybe he doesn't consider her so, but from her actions.
Yeah, but Ron
And they
empowers
treat her like
Hermione by
shit.
being somebody to argue with.
Can we
Ron
talk
treats
about
her like shit.
Can we talk about how awesome it is that there's no like friend zoning bullshit going on in Harry
Exactly.
Potter?
I love
Awesome.
that. There is a little bit in the 4th book when Ron and Hermione are like all jealousy, snapping at each other.
Yeah.
Because Ron wouldn't just ask her out.
And say, but there's nothing between Harry and Hermione.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Harry
I
and
love
Hermione
that.
are friends, and there's no like, oh, I should be romantic with Hermione or any of that
She
bullshit.
totally friend zoned me.
Like in the books or in the movies, like I've noticed occasionally they try to like hint at that, and I'm like,
It's
no,
really Hollywood,
Harry does
isn't
not
it?
have the hots for Hermione.
I don't remember them hinting
Hermione
at it.
is his
They
friend.
did hint at it a
They
little
do.
at the
They-
beginning.
okay.
Yeah.
Whoops.
And it was
Especially
kind
in
of
the early
weird.
movies.
I would like to point out that they were really shitty to her in the first book, just because she was smart.
They are.
Just because
But
she
that,
was a smart,
but that
outspoken
happens
girl.
when you're a smart girl.
Yeah.
It does.
When you're a smart girl, you're a stuck-up bitch.
And they had to go through like an actual dangerous situation with her to become friends. And it's so funny the way that they describe it in the first book. It's like, well, you can't very well defeat a mountain troll without becoming good friends.
Yeah, but they're like,
I
they're-
think that's like an exact quote.
Yeah.
But then like in the I can't remember which one it is, when Harry gets the broom from Sirius and
Mhm.
Hermione turns it in, they shun her. She
They
ends
do.
up spending her afternoons in the goddamn cabin with Hagrid, crying her eyes out, helping him with his appeal, because her only friends, like mostly her only friends, I think she's friends with Jenny too later on in the series. But it just, I could not believe, I was so pissed at them throughout that whole book.
But that's
My
actually
two-
normal during childhood.
I mean, it is. It's just part of the.
I
that
know,
whole-
it just pisses me off. They treat her like shit.
But my two favorite characters in the whole series, like if I just had to pick absolute favorite characters, are Hermione and Neville. And I know people like to shit on Neville.
I love Neville.
But
I was actually
love Neville.
about to say that I wish Hermione and Neville had gotten together.
I love Neville because Neville has a lot of the same qualities that Hermione has, but Neville's like a schmuck and nobody likes him. And I guess nobody would like Hermione except Ron and Harry. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of get the impression that nobody really likes Hermione except Ron and Harry.
I love Neville. In fact, there's even this awesome meme out now. It's called Being Nevilled, where it's like somebody who you think is just some geeky like type of nobody, and then they end up being like this awesome ball of hotness. I don't know how else to put it.
I'm gonna say, well, and that's the movies, but even
Yeah. I love Neville. He's even he gets to be kind of a badass in the books too.
he's a total badass by
And
the
they-
7th book.
Yeah, and they even hint that really he also could have been the chosen one type of thing.
Yeah.
That it's
Um,
really just a matter of who Voldemort had picked.
It really is. Voldemort happened to
You're
pick
chosen
him.
by what the evil one chooses. Is the chosen
Yeah.
one.
I don't know. The books had a lot of
It
like
shall who not
fate
be named.
twisted in with it and stuff, which sort of
There's already magic, so
there's
I mean,
already magic. I would like to point out though that Trelawney was not as much as a fraud as people like to think she is.
Yeah.
People have gone through these books like scrupulously, gone through. I don't know if it was planned, but someone's telling me that Neville was badass from the first book too.
He is because he stands
is.
up to his friends.
He does. He
and
stands up to his friends.
Dumbledore gives Neville the winning points in the first book because
Um,
he stands up to his friends. Because it's a lot harder to stand up to your friends than
I had
it is to
forgotten
stand
about
up to your
that.
bullies.
But with the prophecies, apparently it turns out that a lot of the prophecies Trelawney made actually did come true. Even the ones that it seemed like she was just pulling completely out of her ass actually ended up coming true. When in the third book at the Christmas dinner, when she says, like, when 13 dine together, the first to leave is the first to die. And everybody always thinks Harry and Ron are the first to leave. And they're like, oh, so that's bullshit because neither of them were the first to die. But actually, Dumbledore got up. Dumbledore got up because he stood up for Trelawney to sit down, and Ron's rat was at the table with them. Mm-hmm. So before Trelawney sat down, there were already 13 people there.
Ooh.
And then Dumbledore died first. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert. The book's been out for like a fucking decade.
In case you've been living under a rock.
Just in case you don't know. You know. It was his sled.
I think one of my favorite.
That's just one of the examples.
I think one of my favorite T-shirts has like every spoiler alert for every
I have a
movie.
friend who has that shirt.
I love that.
It's the greatest freaking shirt ever.
Bruce Willis is dead the whole time, guys.
It's like Snape kills Dumbledore, Bruce Willis is really dead, Soylent Green is people. Like it has all the major
the
movie
Soylent
spoilers.
Green thing, they spoiled that in the goddamn ads for the movie when it came out. Oh.
But Harry
All
Potter.
right, on to Harry Potter. So, okay, Harry Potter, the Wizarding World has some mental health problems.
Seriously.
I mean, you just, even looking at Dumbledore's sister and mother, especially
God.
his sister.
Yes.
Holy shit, she's got problems. They don't say what the Muggles did to her to make her dad, didn't he, like, kill them?
Yes.
I think he killed them.
His dad killed them.
Or she killed them. I can't remember if it was her losing control of her powers or what. I thought she lost control of her powers and her dad took the fall. I could be wrong. I can't remember now. But even so, they just alluded to something terrible that the Muggles did to her when she was like 6.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine. Well, I can.
Whatever it was hideous.
Whatever
we don't need to look far for examples of hideous things that people do to other people. I mean, that happens in the Muggle world already.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it just happens more elaborately.
And
the only difference is that in the Wizarding world, apparently some fucking justice is done.
Yeah, and it's like
quote unquote justice.
The fact that they needed to hide her problems away and just be like, oh, well, she's sick, but not sick enough to be in the hospital.
Yeah. I have a hard time believing that St. Mungo's wouldn't have had something to do with this.
Well, I mean, St. Mungo's was there.
St. Mungo's has been around,
That's
for
true.
centuries, I think.
I'm dumb. St. Mungo's has been there for a long time. And then poor Dumbledore's mom. I mean, how do you think she felt?
Seriously.
Having to keep her only daughter locked up in the house and take care of her and hidden from the world. The whole thing is just tragic, and it's like, if you had some sort of mental health, I mean, and you have to know that this affected Dumbledore, especially in his relationship with
Grimwald.
Grimwald. I kept wanting to say Grindelwald, the monster from Beowulf. I can
That's
only
Grendel.
hope Grendel. Yeah, I can only hope that was intentional.
But I mean, Ariana obviously suffers from like post-traumatic stress syndrome or something.
Something.
Like some kind of serious trauma.
Something happened.
Causes her, and because she doesn't know how to control her powers, because she's never gone to school to learn how to control her magic, and because she's dealing with all of these mental issues, she, again, doesn't have any control over it. So it's just like...
I can only imagine what it would be like if I had magical powers on top of my depressive episodes.
Yeah.
Like, I probably wouldn't be alive today if I had that.
Or if you get triggered by something. I mean, like, if you had magic powers and they were linked to your brain, which is what it seems to be in the wizarding world, at least to some degree, because you can make things happen with your emotions. Because that's what happens with young wizards who don't know how to control
And Harry
themselves.
blew up his aunt.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't even do it on purpose. He didn't chant anything. He was just pissed off and he blew up his aunt.
So magic's clearly connected to emotion. and things like it.
Yeah.
So
And they've shown that many, many times
They have.
throughout the Wizard.
So why the fuck are there not therapists in the wizarding world?
I don't know. Well, I think some of it might have to do with the statute of secrecy, because if you notice, the whole wizarding world is like it's trapped in this sort of 17th century technology type
Yeah.
of thing. Like Ron doesn't even know what a telephone is. All these things.
I think the other thing is one of the common aspects of all of the characters that are trapped in that world. I will say trapped because they haven't been outside of it.
I think they are a little trapped.
They kind of are trapped. But one of the common elements is that you just kind of deal with shit, and it's almost like that patriarchal kind of you just deal with it. This is just how you just deal with it. I don't know why they have that mentality.
Well, and comparing it with, say,
Well,
physical illness, I mean, mental illness and physical illness are the same thing.
I consider
But
it basically the same.
people often segregate them. So looking at St. Mungo's and how they deal with
They deal with it all magically.
how they deal with illness, it's all dealt with magically. They don't use any. There are Muggle treatments that work.
There are.
And Ron's dad gets in severe trouble with Mrs. Weasley
Because he tries to use stitches.
Yeah.
Well, the venom dissolved the stitches, so that didn't work.
But they're not.
But I would just like
the
to
way
say,
that she reacts clearly says that they don't even really know about Muggle cures for things, because she's like, "What do you mean you actually stitched yourself back together?"
That sounds like you just sewed your skin together. Well, yeah, pretty much. And the fact that they have this statute of secrecy, and so they're not only are they not allowed to let the Muggle world know they're there, but they're also, because of that, they're not really allowed to interact with the Muggle world at all. So they don't know how to use Muggle money. They don't know how to use Muggle clothes. There was a guy cross-dressing in a pretty hilarious scene. He was like, "What? I like
a good healthy breeze beneath my privates."
And so it goes to, you have to assume that they also never were exposed to mental health treatments or psychology. And so of course they're not going to really know how to deal with those situations. And they sort of they didn't have a mental health ward. They had what I guess a lot of people would assume is sort of analogous to the Muggle mental health wards. They're for people who were incurably
It's
harmed
what
by
mental
magic.
health wards used to look like.
Yeah.
So, which again, because
back to that
the wizards
century.
kind of live in the past.
Yeah, they really do. And they're forced to, because, I mean, if you were to take the wizarding world, take Harry Potter and fast forward it to today, their newspapers with moving pictures and shit, we got GIFs.
Yep.
We have the internet. Basically what they have, we have instant communication. We have better instant communication using technology than the wizards did.
Yeah.
And
everybody's like, "Oh, cool! Moving pictures on the newspaper. Hey, we have laptops we can carry around
Yeah,
with us,
we got
motherfucker."
Shit, we have
iPhones.
tablets.
We have tablets.
So yeah.
No need for owls, man. Email.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
I would
It's so much more effective.
I would like to say, getting into the looking at other characters with mental health issues, Tom Riddle.
Seriously.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What did you say? Antisocial personality disorder?
Yeah.
Possibly.
And he fits a lot of the classic
he
signs
really
for it
does.
because he comes from an abusive background to some degree. I mean, definitely a neglectful background.
Yeah. I'm not
Um,
saying that the orphanage itself was really abusive, but it's an orphanage back in the 1950s. And if we're to
it is
assume,
not beyond the realm of possibility
Yeah,
that he was
it's not.
abused by another child or somebody
Exactly.
in the orphanage.
That is a definite possibility.
and especially once I think it especially has an effect on him, a profound effect once he finds out who his father is.
Yeah.
And the circumstances of how he was conceived, and what the type of life his mother led. I mean, that you can't find out about that when you're a teenager, because he found out who his parents were when he was a teenager. You can't find out about that and it not have some sort of effect on you.
I mean, shit, the whole Riddle family,
Yeah.
as far back as we get in the story, which I guess is his mother and his grandfather and his uncle.
Yeah.
They clearly
the Wizarding
all
World
three
knew
of
they
them,
were there.
All three of them needed severe intervention in that family.
They were living in abject poverty.
And Merope is his mother's name?
Merope. I
Merope?
think is
Is in a extremely abusive situation.
very. I do not hesitate to say that I think there was incestuous abuse going on there.
Yeah, I definitely think there was.
With her family's.
They pretty much come right out and say
Yeah.
that that's what's been going on in that family
Yeah.
forever. So we can pretty solidly infer
like-
that her brother's been molesting her probably regularly.
And the way that she acts, where she won't speak out, she won't talk, she's too nervous even to use her powers. That's clear signs, I think, of somebody who has been abused for
That
years.
is an abusive situation.
Now, and then she's never had a healthy relationship modeled for her. So when she
Yeah.
falls for this Muggle man and suddenly she's free and able to use her powers, that had to have been an incredible feeling for her. And I'm not.
What I was just going to say.
Okay,
like,
sorry.
When she is like able to be freed because she's with a Muggle, what does that do to her?
I'm gonna say, well,
psychologically,
the
like
two-
you just eliminate all of the bad things that happen to her. I mean, that's definitely something that's important to her character, but the fact that her freedom comes from being with a Muggle, that's a huge thing.
Yeah, her freedom comes from being with a Muggle that she can control. She literally controls him using. They said love potions, but I have no doubt that she probably used Imperious
Yeah.
Crest too. And it's like, how much more blatant can you get that, rape is about control? I mean, it says that she died of heartache and, a broken heart, but really, it's like I don't think this was necessarily just because she had a crush on him. It very clearly shows in the books, it talks about how I think her brother and her father are both now at Azkaban.
They're in Azkaban.
They're both in Azkaban, and for the first time in her life, she's free, and, like, the first few times you see her, she's not even able to, like, clean a teacup using magic, and then suddenly she's able to control a Muggle, like, all on her own with potions and whatnot. Yeah, she definitely suddenly was able to get that control, and the first time that you get it, that if you're in abusive situations, especially your whole life, the first time you have control, it's very likely that you'll abuse it.
Well, and we see that
And
all
we
the
see
time.
that she does. We see it all the
self-centered.
time. We see that she does abuse that power. She eventually, we don't really know why or how he comes out from underneath her control, but obviously eventually she loses control of him. I don't know if it's by her own volition or some accident.
Most
And then
likely her own volition. She
Yeah.
I like to
figured
think
stuff
that she
out.
does, because I don't see her as an intentionally evil
Yeah.
person.
No.
Definitely a product of her circumstances.
Definitely. Apparently in many fan fictions, they're saying that she probably just died of childbirth issues. But Muggles or wizards don't like that Muggle medicine. So if you die in childbirth, then you get the Queen Amidala death.
Man, I would assume you would just, like, transfigure your vagina and be like,
Yeah,
bam, done.
Why can't I just transport that shit out? I mean, that's what I would do if
I
I
would
lived
say
in the Star Trek universe.
Just apparate the baby out of there. Bam. Same reason, like, why don't they teleport babies
Fetus
out of people
expellus.
in Fetus Expellus?
Thank you for that one. See, I love that. Yeah, I mean, I always say that if I lived like in Star Trek universe, I would just transport the baby
Teleport
out.
this thing out.
Get it out of me.
But I mean, like, take your pick. Anyone in the Riddle family needed fucking therapy.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
At the bare
Well,
minimum.
When I was reading about them, I had this little special song that came into my head. I had that
Deliverance.
Like, that's just the song that popped
That
into
is
my
how I
head.
picture her brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean-
it's just what comes into my mind, and I know that.
I was terrified for that wizard guy who showed up at their house.
I know.
From the authorities. Like, oh damn. You walked into the wrong neighborhood.
You probably should have said an Auror here, not just you. The equivalent of an auditor from
Yeah.
the
Now, what is your
Ministry
guys'
of
take on
Magic.
the Azkaban shit, though?
Oh my god,
Oh,
Azkaban
cruel and
is
unusual
so
punishment.
fucked up.
That is fucked up.
And there's like how many instances in the book alone
Of
where
innocent
people are sent to Azkaban,
Yeah.
and Azkaban clearly causes permanent psychological damage to the people that are there.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's like if we were to take every single criminal ever for any offense and put them in solitary, for extended lengths of time,
except
and then
this
let
is
them out.
even worse than
This is
solitary.
even worse.
Like, if you could find something worse than solitary confinement, it's fucking Dementors sucking
Yeah.
every bit of happiness
They
out
suck
of you.
your soul out. They don't just kill you, they suck your soul out. And in this universe, souls exist, and they're a really big deal because obviously Voldemort gets crazier and crazier the more he splits up his
Right.
soul.
So,
oh
why
my
do you
God.
think J.K. Rowling wrote about Azkaban, though? Because this has been one of the most important things,
I
I
think-
think, to the story.
I think it's commentary on solitary confinement,
I think
because
it
that's
is.
what it is.
I do want to say that I read an interview from her. I can't quote her exactly, but I remember reading an interview from her about where she talked about writing the Dementors, and she said she came up with them when she was in the midst of a terrible depression.
It definitely sounds like it.
Yeah.
And I can see that. Yeah. I can definitely see Dementors being like the personification of depression. And speaking of depression, fucking Moaning Myrtle.
Yeah.
Right?
Which, by the way, she was in Doctor Who, and I
She was.
freaked out.
I loved
when
that.
I saw her in Doctor Who.
The Doctor was in Harry Potter.
It's true.
He was in the 4th movie.
It's like
I can't believe I didn't realize that
But
until like
I love her.
2 months ago.
She's like the oldest actor to play a character in that school.
One of the children characters.
Yeah, children characters. She's
and
very, very old for a person playing a child character.
that is so. Her story is so dark. She's bullied,
Right?
and obviously suffering from depression. I mean, they're like, "Oh, where's Moaning Myrtle? Oh, crying in the bathroom." It's like that's not normal.
Right?
No.
Why has nobody
No.
addressed this?
No, you don't have a school counselor for this. I mean, shit, you have a
Seriously.
school nurse.
Fucking elementary schools have school counselors.
Yeah.
Why is there not a
Shitty
school
ones,
counselor
usually,
at
but-
Hogwarts?
And not only that, but she meets her death while crying in the bathroom. I mean,
And then
if that is
runs
not
as a ghost.
if that is
crying
not
in the
a
bathroom.
euphemism for suicide,
It
I don't
totally
know
is.
what is.
Totally is.
I don't even, like, I think one time you and I were talking
She
about it,
literally
and I
stared death in the face and accepted it.
think one time you and I were talking about this, and, like, I had completely forgotten that she didn't commit suicide. Like,
yeah. That was like, yeah, I think it was when we were first discussing this, because originally we were going to have this Wizarding World
we were
mental
gonna
health
write
problem.
a fucking novel about
Yeah, it
this.
was going to be a blog, and then it got really long, and so we decided to make a podcast of it. But Dory actually forgot that she didn't commit suicide. She seriously thought she did, and I was like, no, she didn't. She was killed by the monster.
And I was like, oh yeah, the
The
basilisk killed her.
But I still think, I mean, seriously, you're depressed, crying in a bathroom,
And bullied.
and
Constantly.
bullied, and you look up and stare death in the face and you die. That's suicide right there.
Even as a ghost,
She's still depressed as a ghost.
She's still depressed as a ghost, but a lot of people don't take her seriously. A lot of people are like,
Yeah, they
oh,
make
fuck
fun of her.
Harry was like the only person who was like, I'm gonna take you seriously and talk to you.
You know
and
what?
But was kind of creeped out by her because she was
Harry's
a little
kind of a jackass because he only cared about Moaning Myrtle when he could get something from her.
Yeah.
possibly true.
Uh,
but
and that-
she's also
I think
kinda
Hermione's
rapey
a
and
little
weird.
nicer to
Hermione
her.
was nicer to her, I think.
I
Sort
think
of.
it's because Hermione gets bullied too.
Yeah, I think it's because
She can
Hermione,
understand it.
in the first book and in the third book, Hermione spends a lot of time
But
crying
also,
in the
you have to
bathroom.
remember that Moaning Myrtle was a little creepy with Harry, and it
Yeah,
kinda
she
freaked him out.
was.
She was a little rapey, and he was like,
She-
"I'm kind of. Please stop. Touch. No. Why are you there?"
And the idea that
She
was,
likes looking at boys in the prefect's bathroom.
And here's the thing, she wasn't always doomed to haunt the bathrooms. She didn't
No.
have to. She was
No.
free.
She was sentenced
She
to
was
haunt
sentenced
the bathroom.
to them. She was banished to haunt that bathroom. Oh, it's so fucked up.
I would totally
Moaning
troll
Myrtle.
the hell out of all those motherfuckers. if
Well,
I
and
was
that's
sent
she
there.
was trolling the hell out of whatever.
She is trolling now. It's great.
Yeah, out of
I
the,
love that she spent her afterlife trolling the assholes.
trolling her bully. Like that's what she did until
Yeah.
she got I guess the equivalent of a restraining order
That's what
against
you
her
get.
and got sent back to Hogwarts.
We might have to send Crazy Eyes after her bully. And then I guess I kind of want to go back to the whole emotions thing, being connected to magic. Snape did I don't think he really tried that hard, but he did try to express to Harry that to control his magic, he needs to control his emotions. I don't think he did a good job. But the thing is, I think Snape is just really good at that shit because he's had to spend so long doing it. He grew up in an abusive home. He was poor. He was bullied at school relentlessly.
Yeah.
By Harry's dad. And then he was rejected by his only friend and his first crush. And then his only love dies. I mean, all these terrible things. It's no wonder that he went dark for a while and was into the dark magic. The people who represented the good stuff were shitty to him.
That was one of the things that I think is best represented by this entire series, is the fact that a lot of the darker people had been through a fucking shit ton of stuff in this world, and they just acted out on it. And I think that is a true reason why people might quote-unquote go bad. It's not necessarily that they're bad people and that they're just evil. It's sometimes life does shit to you and you become a little dark.
Well, and there's so many instances in the series where, I mean, it's like a fucking case study about people coming from abusive backgrounds.
It really is.
Because you have Sirius Black, who comes from an abusive family.
Yep.
You have
Harry Potter.
You have Harry
obviously.
Potter. You have Sirius. And, I mean, Neville doesn't come from a very loving home.
Well, I
wouldn't call it abusive, but I would call it traumatic.
A little bit. He was thrown out of a window to see if he was magical.
I feel like his family bullies him a lot.
Yeah, I think they
do. It borders on emotional abuse. I wouldn't flat out call it abuse in the same way that other people in the books experience it, but it's definitely unhealthy what Neville experiences.
And the thing is, like, when you see him with his he's obviously terrified of his grandmother. Not quite as terrified of her as he is of Snape, I think. Which Snape becomes a bully too.
Snape is totally a bully.
And that's what happens. Okay, this is one of the reasons why when that father had his son out on the side of the road in Killeen, Texas, with a thing like "honk if you hate bullies," fucking signs. That is the epitome of stupidity, because you're bullying your child for being a bully, which he's most likely being a bully because he's been bullied.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, that's just generally how bullies occur, and I think that's why I like this story so much, because it does show that a lot of the quote-unquote bullies were bullied, and that's what created them.
You tend to go one of two ways. Like, you either act out as a bully, or you act out against bullies. Right. You become an advocate. Like,
I don't really know what to think about Draco, though. I mean, he's just kind of an ass. I think he's just entitled.
He's entitled.
He's entitled and privileged
and entitled.
But that's a perfect character in this entire series.
It is. He's like the embodiment of that.
We need to have an entitled character to explain what happens when you have everything handed to you in this world.
And I'm not going to say that always happens, but when you have everything handed to you and you're raised in a home that insists that you're better than everybody else, you're
going to act differently
than
the rest of the characters. And I think that's an important... He is such an important, vital character to the whole entire world.
Later on in the books... especially the sixth book, he is he becomes a little bit more tragic because he's kind of stuck in a hard place. He brags outwardly to his friends about being chosen to kill Dumbledore. He doesn't say it out loud, but he's bragging about it. But he doesn't really want to.
Right.
I mean, they even pointed out in the books, like, he chose such shitty ways to try to do it. And then even when he had the chance, he still didn't do it. He stood there and had the chance for like 10 minutes, and he didn't kill Dumbledore.
Well, and I think that's the thing that's really interesting about his character. He was entitled to all these things. He had his character built up to be this thing, and he, in a way, fought it.
He did. He sort of did. I think for him, it was more of an internal family struggle, especially with him and his mother. His dad seemed to be more distant. His dad seemed to be the one that was more distant, more... intent on greed and gathering power and all that stuff.
Popular.
Smoozing up to Snape, or not Snape, to Voldemort, and
not just Voldemort, but anyone in power.
Yeah, anyone in
power.
His mom's she really was just worried for Draco. She wanted what was best for her son, like above all else.
Greedy thing. I mean, honestly, that is a form of greed, too.
It can be, especially the way that it plays out with her, she joins the bad side and everything, and I'm not saying it's okay to join the racist assholes in order to protect your kids.
They pretty much are racist. They're anti-Muggle. In a
Yeah.
lot of ways, they're anti-woman.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They're magical creatures. They're shitty towards. Like they're just.
They're shitty to
They're just
non-humans.
bigoted
They're shitty
bugs.
to...
I like that Rowling was able to take some of the characters who were supposed to be seen as like, I don't think there were really any pure evil characters. Even Voldemort
Even
himself
Voldemort is...
had
Those
this
things are great.
tragic thing that you can really feel empathy for in his childhood.
Well,
and
he doesn't have a
for-
nose, the poor fucker. I'm just joking.
Well, you know your soul is contained in your nose, so if you split your soul, you lose most of your nose.
Yep.
But no, I mean, Draco's mom, I think, is a really, really tragic story. She really was just, once you get to the end, like the 6th and 7th books, you see that she only cared about Draco. That's what she cared about. That was her whole
A lot of
life.
women are like that with their babies.
Well, especially since if you really look at the magical world, it's
Yeah.
a
It
wizarding
really does boil
patriarchal
down to that.
world.
Yeah, and she had a son. That's very, very important
Yeah,
in that
and-
world. And not only that, a powerful son that was able to do. He was capable of doing so many amazing things.
He wasn't a bad wizard. I mean, like
No.
power-wise, he had the ability.
And so, like, she had everything going for her. It's sad. It is kind of tragic.
And then at the end,
a lot of J.K. Rowling's writing.
she knows that Harry is alive, and she's like, I just want to know about my son. That's all I care about. She's like so obviously trapped and a hostage in that situation, and it's tragic.
There's a lot of motherhood's definitely a theme in Harry Potter.
It is.
fuck
There's
yeah.
oh god,
But
so much of
J.K.
it.
Rowling, she was homeless for a long time. She devoted her entire life to just writing this book instead
Well,
of doing
she
other
also
shit.
had
And
children.
And
she
she had
had
kids.
Yeah.
She's a single mom.
And she was into being a motherly character, so that
But another-
definitely reflects in her stories.
I mean, another
throughout.
character that I don't think gets enough credit is Mrs. Weasley. Like, seriously.
Oh, I love her.
Molly
Christ, I love
Weasley.
her.
I adore her.
I want her as
When
a
she
mom.
saw when she saw her greatest fear from the what's it
Oh my
called?
god, that makes me cry every time I read it.
I cry every time I read it when Harry comes upon her and she's just in the room, and I'm about to cry now.
Yeah.
And it's like you look on the floor and you see your dead husband, and suddenly your dead son and your dead daughter, and it's just, oh, it's so sad. And the thing is, when you look at it, she and her husband both lost so much of their family in the last war. Really, the entire wizarding world went through a world war with genocide, basically.
Yeah.
There was genocide, and they're still reeling from that. You can see it in the way that the older wizards talk about what happened and the fear that they have. I mean, it would be like if you go back to like 1955 or 1960 and talk to people who were in Europe during World War II about their experiences. I mean, I think it's very
They have
similar to
similar
that.
fears,
Yeah.
similar,
It's like we don't
issues.
ever want this happening again. Oh my god.
Yep.
And in fact, purebloods were killed if they took the wrong side.
Yeah.
Muggles were killed and tortured. It was a very traumatic experience, I think, for the whole wizarding world, which is even more reason for them to have therapists. I mean,
Going
shell
back to
shock.
the therapy
Hello.
needed. But you know what? Maybe that is the great story. The backbone of this entire story is that they needed therapists, but so do we. We definitely need therapists.
There's no
in the
shame in
Muggle
needing
world.
therapists because
no
we
shame.
all do
And
to some degree or another.
And the thing is there's people in the policing world that feel shame with that. There's people in the military world that feel shame with that.
The
There's
military is
people
what drives me.
in the business world that
Is
have
what
shame
drives
with
me
it.
crazy because
I hate.
you basically get docked off, I don't know, points or whatever when it comes to security clearance
Right.
if you've seen a therapist in the military.
And
Which
so
is
they
why,
go to chaplains instead.
Which is why they go to chaplains
Which is why
instead.
we need atheist chaplains so that military people can go and speak to somebody without having anything go against them. They can go and talk about their issues. But I would prefer if there just was nothing docked against you for going and getting therapy. What the fuck is wrong with getting therapy?
And I think if you're going to talk about like things like PTSD in the military, I mean, Harry displays like
the exact signs.
In the
key
fifth book.
signs in the fifth and a little
Right.
bit in the sixth book. It's all about his depression and PTSD. I mean, he witnessed. He's not just an orphan. It's not just that his parents died. Which in the fourth book, when the Dementors first show up, is that the fourth or the third?
It's the third.
It's the third book. In the third book, he starts showing a little bit about that, and I think this is another interesting area with the Dementors. If you've had traumatic experiences in the past, you'll relive them, and that's fucking depression mixed with PTSD right there. And he starts reliving that, and then in the fifth book, in the fifth and sixth book, he starts reliving the deaths of Cedric, and then again with Sirius. And it just
Serious
keeps
PTSD.
In the fifth book,
Sirius. I meant the character Sirius, but yeah.
in the fifth book, he's recently had a traumatic experience.
Yes.
Yep.
That he hadn't.
Several traumatic
I was
experiences.
gonna say, well, he's recently had a traumatic experience that he was powerless over.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have both of those things
Yep.
to get PTSD
Yep.
diagnosis. He has rumination about the event. He's constantly revisiting it. He's hyper vigilant. Like, he's constantly on the alert. He keeps his wand on him at all times. He's just waiting for Voldemort to appear again. He has mood swings. Like, he has every single feature
the
of
internal
post-traumatic
monologue.
stress syndrome.
The big thing with me was the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
Of Ursed? Or...
I
No,
really
the
think
mirror
the
that
mirror.
he could, when he realizes that he had that mirror and he could
Oh
talk
my
to
God,
Sirius.
yeah.
I think that was a huge thing for.
I mean, if you in the sixth, this is why I think the sixth book is also a little bit about his depression and PTSD related to Sirius, because he keeps reeling from Sirius's death in the sixth book. He goes from blaming himself to blaming Helena Bonham Carter. What was her character? Sorry, I'm bad at names. What was her name? Damn it.
Bellatrix?
Bellatrix. And of course she is the one who kills him, but it's like, and then he blames Snape at one point.
Yeah.
He's like, I fucking hate Snape, and then he goes through blaming everybody, and especially himself, not just because he went off to the Ministry, but because he forgot about the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
He had worried so much, and the whole reason, it kills me, the whole reason he didn't even ever look at the mirror, he didn't even know what it was, really, was because he had decided to himself when his godfather gave it to him at Christmas, he decided he wouldn't even touch it because he didn't want to put Sirius in any danger.
Yep.
And
it was macho bullshit
Yep.
getting in the way that
Yeah.
caused Sirius's death.
And the whole fact that he spends that time blaming himself, he almost blames himself for Cedric, which I think when he talks to the group of students in the fifth book is like my favorite, when he creates the rebel student group. I fucking love that.
Dumbledore's
But
army, man.
when he talks to them and they're like, but you've been through this, and he's like, no, you don't get it. It's Cedric knew all of these things, and he's able to actually talk out loud about it and realize that, oh, Cedric was powerless too. I was powerless. It's not my fault, type of thing. I think he kind of gets that out.
And
in
that's
that
the
speech
sort of
to the
thing that a
kids.
therapist would have helped him get to a lot
Exactly.
sooner.
Wait, are we talking about not victim blaming?
I mean, it's
In a lot of
survivor's
ways.
guilt.
Yeah, it's seriously a problem that a lot of victims go through when they've been through shit. They have a hard time. They go through this transition. There's when it first occurs, you're like, this was my fault, and here's why. And it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. These are the reasons. I am that fault. And then after a while, you're like, okay, well, A can't be true because this. B can't be true because this. And eventually you get to the conclusion, you're like, holy fuck, I was a victim. And then you have to deal with being a victim.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other journey.
I mean, the reason why
At least
people...
when you're blaming yourself, you feel like you have control and
Right.
power
Exactly.
over it.
When you're blaming yourself or you're victim blaming, you can at least have the illusion that there's some kind of control over what happens in the world.
No control is scary. And
Yeah.
so once you find out that you're a victim, then you're like, holy fuck, oh my god, I have to deal with this shit. And I think that's kind of what Harry went through. It was like, oh.
Well, and he's even more so kind of at the hands of fate, because fate's an actual thing in the Harry
Yes,
Potter
fate
world.
is a thing in the Harry Potter world. To a degree, they have this thing where it's like fate's a thing, but it's kind of wishy-washy, and you can kind of change your fate. But if we're gonna talk about the fifth book and about depression, we have to talk about Cho.
Yeah.
She gets.
Seriously.
I mean,
Cho needed a goddamn therapist more than...
they discuss it so much. There are rumors of her crying all the time. She cries when she kisses Harry for the first time.
I would say she reaches out to Harry because Harry's somebody who should be able to relate to it. But Harry's doing like the macho not talking about it thing.
Okay, why does he do the macho thing?
Because he's a male in Western society.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating to me because, like,
And the wizarding world totally reinforces that.
Yes.
I guess in my weird idea, I'm like, he has Hermione as a friend. He shouldn't be falling for this shit. But I guess society is a lot stronger than your best friends.
I also want to point out that with Cho, it's like, it's not just that she's depressed, but also that people kind of act like, what do you have to be depressed about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they act like there's nothing for her to be sad about. That, I mean...
Which is a common problem for people who are depressed.
When Harry describes his first kiss, he says it's wet, and they're like, what? And he's like, well, she was crying. And Ron's like, what? What does she have to cry about? And Hermione, man, I wish I had this
wrong
quote.
with you?
And she
what
just
do you
like
mean? What does she have to cry about?
lists off like the 20 things that are on her mind, and Ron's like, how could anyone think about that all at the same time? They'd explode, and it's like, fucking exactly.
Exactly. She's
Cho is
exploding with
exploding.
tears.
And it kind of annoys me in the book, and I think this is especially since it's written from more of the male point of view than anything, which is weird because it's a female author, but they almost sort of try to blow her off. I half expected one of them to be like, she's just PMSing or something. I mean, really.
But maybe there's something to that in exposing an idea of what we think of women. And when they have 500 things going on in their life, which I totally get because that's going on in my life right now. 500 things are going on in your life, and people are like, why are you talking about all these horrible things that are going on with you? Maybe because I'm fucking freaking out at
You
this
look
point.
at Harry and Cho. All right, you look at how Harry deals with Cedric's death. He keeps it in. He doesn't want to talk about it with anyone. He expressly...
Women talk about this
all we
shit.
hear, like when you're reading the book, and another reason why I really love the 5th book so much is you get to hear Harry's inner monologue, all the shit that he's not telling everybody.
Right.
And if you were to look at it from another character's point of view, all you would see are angry outbursts all the time. Emotional, angry outbursts that seem to be disconnected from what's going on. Sorry. And
but you know what's
but
going
with
on
with Cho, she's at least sort of she's trying to reach out to people and talk to them. They're just refusing to. With Harry, people seem to want to talk about it with him, mostly because he witnessed it. But with Cho, people are sort of like, it's the way that he doesn't express himself and the way that she does and the way other people react to each of them really highlights the patriarchal nature.
Do you think it would have
of their
changed if
society.
Harry was the one who was being more verbal about what he went through, and if
I'm
Cho
not even
was the
saying
person
that she
being more
necessarily
hidden?
was more verbal. I think she was trying to be and people weren't letting her.
Yeah, but do you think it would have changed if it was Harry that
I
was
think
doing
it would have definitely changed the dynamic, really. And it's just, I read that book, and I've read it over and over and over again, and the whole Harry-Cho dynamic, and the fact that she's not just having to worry, she's not just trying to get over the death of her first boyfriend, she's also trying to reconcile her feelings for Harry, and not just because...
And not just that, but what people will think of her for having feelings
She's
for
having
Harry.
to worry about what people are going to think about her for going off and dating Harry. And then the one time she gets Harry alone and really wants to discuss it, he's like, no. And he doesn't want to. And he's like, why? And you hear Harry's monologue. It's like, why is she wanting to talk about Cedric now? And I really want to like rewrite that book from Cho's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a fanfic out there that does this, please fucking let me know. I want to read it. And I really want to see her point of view where she's like, he's suffering too. I'm sure she can tell he's suffering.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost feel like that's maybe, she kind of liked him in the 4th book as well, but I almost feel like in the 5th book that's maybe what draws her more
I think
towards
it
him.
is.
Because it's a shared, it's a
more
shared
affected
experience.
by Cedric's death or Dumbledore's? For me, Cedric was a more powerful death.
I think Cedric,
I'm
really.
not gonna lie, the death that most affects me is Dobby's.
Oh, Dobby.
Oh my god, I cry every time Dobby dies, and when George dies.
Oh, I
Like-
forget that George dies.
Oh my god. Like...
But, I mean, the two big deaths that they talk about is Cedric and Dumbledore.
I-
Those are
I-
the ones that everyone
I
talks about
think
because they were known.
I'm more affected by Cedric because I think part of it is because the 5th book focuses so much on the emotional aftermath that went into that. In the 7th book, after Dumbledore dies, so much shit is going on that no one's able to really process
We're
it.
not able to fucking
You go from
cry right
Dumbledore
now.
dying to his funeral to going home to leaving home to, like, and all this shit is happening. No one's really able to process the deaths that happened in the 7th book. And I think that really speaks a lot to what happens in war, especially people who are fighting in the war. When so much shit is going on, you don't have time to process it. And it would be cool to have like an 8th book that deals with that. That goes back and it's like suddenly all of that pain and everything, they just suddenly are like, holy shit, and it just hits them.
And then they get
because
to
you
talk
know
about it.
they sort of talk about it at the end of the 7th book when they have when Voldemort stops the battle and gives them that time to like bury their dead and take care of their wounded and stuff. That's sort of when it all starts settling in, but they still don't really go into it.
No.
Because it then again goes and focuses on Harry when he goes into the Pensieve and everything.
Another big moment that
Oh, I'm gonna cry. Can we talk about happy Harry Potter stuff?
Another big moment that I really like in the 7th book that I hear is not in the movie, which really irritates me, is when Dudley reaches out to Harry and shakes his hand.
I don't think did they have that in the movie?
I don't think they have that in the movie. That's
That
what I've
was
been
upsetting.
told. And I'm so pissed that they didn't, because to me it makes Dudley not likable, not even necessarily forgivable, but it makes him human rather than a cartoonish villain.
And that was my problem I had with the Dursleys. I mean, if you were to sit down and list off the terrible things they did to Harry, the abuse they did to Harry, and just list them, and then you go back and read the way they are portrayed in the book, I almost feel like it's portrayed like cartoon violence.
Right.
Well, I feel like...
Does that make sense?
I feel like there's small moments with Petunia that
Yeah,
humanize
there
her
are.
a little bit. And there's some small moments with Dudley. I don't think there are with Vernon, but again, I think that's more believable because of the whole male shutting off of emotions thing.
With Vernon, I think he might be too far gone. But I mean, like, not just like humanizing them. I mean, when they discuss the abuse they put Harry through, it almost comes across as like, yeah, you're supposed to feel sorry for Harry, but also it's not that big of a deal and it's a little comical. But if you really sat down and wrote down the things he did, he had to live in a cupboard.
I think in the first book, it's
no
like...
wonder he's small for his age.
I think in the first book, like, it's somewhat... Like, you're somewhat worried, but it's also somewhat comical. Like, how Uncle Dursley's dealing with all the, like...
Yeah.
The owls and shit. Like, that's supposed to be funny. But then I think as you go through the book... Then
it gets darker.
It gets
each
darker.
book.
Which I think is kind of like when you're a kid and you're growing up and you're just like... You've just adjusted to this, and so it's normal to you.
It's your new normal. For Harry living under the... He knew that other kids didn't do this, but for him it was normal.
Yeah.
It had been normalized, and maybe since it's seeing it through... I could see someone saying, especially in the first and second books, since he's experiencing this, and the book is pretty much through his eyes, this is how he sees it as a child. Because he's watched cartoons.
And that's
maybe he sees it in that way.
And that's how I would look at it, is that certainly by the end of the series, it's not funny anymore.
It's not.
Like... it's just sad by the end of the series. And when Dursley, when Uncle Vernon just basically like writes off Harry, this person that's been living with them for 18
like,
years.
Oh, I guess you just don't count anymore.
Yeah.
You're gone. Get out of here. Yeah, it's really messed up. I guess I kind of talked myself out of feeling like the depiction of the abuse was problematic just now by realizing, you know what, I think it's written from his childish point of view.
I definitely think it starts out childish, but I think it dawns on the reader, maybe not necessarily Harry, because you don't hear like an inner monologue about it or anything, but I think throughout the book series it becomes less cartoonish and more like just abusive. Like,
well, the first book it's like, holy shit, there's magic.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is so cool. So you kind of expect there to be some craziness, and you know, you're not expecting it to be a dark book or anything the first time. But this is why I love rereading this series. Every time I read it,
there's so much new shit to find in this series.
There's so much amazingness.
I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait to have children just so I can read this to kids
I know,
for
I'm
the
totally
first
reading
time.
This I do have to say we're going on 3 hours now.
We're very close.
How long
so
have we talked about Harry Potter?
a long time.
What time are we exactly at?
We have 9 minutes left.
I didn't even get to talk about the Magic Queers Tumblr.
I know. Well,
we'll put it in the notes.
This is your last chance.
All right. There's this awesome Tumblr that a friend of mine put me on today. It's called Magic Queers, and it's basically an entire Tumblr for queer fanfic, and you like just submit your headcanon that would queer some of the characters and talk about it. Let me find a good one.
I know one of them is McGonagall being a trans man.
One of them is, here, let me read it. Minerva McGonagall learned to become an animagus because she was so dysphoric about her body but was in denial about being trans. It was the best opportunity she had to flee her body, and it was hugely cathartic for her to become a cat. When she figured it out and came out and transitioned, Dumbledore was incredibly sweet and supportive. And there's just so many of these, and they're just different people's take on how they would queer the characters if they could write it again and things. I love it.
I'm not going to lie, as a kid when I was reading Harry Potter, because I started reading it at the age of 11.
Yeah.
When I think it's the 3rd book with the Polyjuice Potion.
Oh yeah, Polyjuice.
I was like, man, I'd be done. I
have read a Harry Potter erotica that takes place after Harry and Ginny get married. And they each take Polyjuice Potion of each other, and then
it's kind of sexy.
Do stuff. Yeah, kind of weird, but kind of sexy too.
Hey.
Okay, my
Anyways,
recommendation
okay.
for this show is to check out My Immortal, the worst fan fiction ever written in the history of mankind, but it is the most hilarious, and I subjected both Dory and Amy to it.
It was amazing.
Nobody cares what Raven is wearing.
Ebony.
But
whatever, Raven is
whatever
one of them
her name
too.
is. Some emo goth
They're
name.
basically a teenage girl who is super goth and also a vampire. Decided to write a fanfic.
It's a very Mary Sue character.
Yeah.
Decided to write a
but it's totally
quote
not
unquote
Mary Sue.
fanfic of Harry Potter. It doesn't. All it does is have actual names of Harry Potter characters that are sometimes misspelled.
It also has magic in it.
It has sex in it, which is super funny.
Whenever she needs.
And then he took off my bra and we started having sex. Is one of the lines.
And he started doing me.
Yeah.
That's right.
And also, I believe some people were videotaping her taking a bath.
Even though electronics don't work in the Wizarding world.
And there were also Muggle bands there. It's fucking brilliant. Go check it out.
Yeah, they love My Chemical Romance.
They do. They like. I like My Chemical Romance too.
So do I.
Song is My Chem, but the point is go check this out. Check out the dramatic reading of it on YouTube.
It's great.
It is fucking brilliant, and Dory and Amy and I think we just sat here and fucking listened to that all night long.
Yep.
All night long, one night.
Yeah, we did.
I
mean, honestly, I could talk about this all night, but I don't know if our fans really want to listen to 6 hours straight of us talk about Harry Potter.
If you guys go and check out My Immortal and like it, we will do our own dramatic reading. If you want to. So if we get enough fans saying they want to hear it, then we'll do
I call Ebony.
Right. And if you have any other suggestions for more things to talk about with Harry Potter, maybe we'll do another Harry Potter show.
God, I have suggestions.
But that's all the time
Okay.
we have. Join us next week when we geek out about Halloween and ghost stories. Ooh. Be sure to like Shethinkers and the Dirty Nerdy on Facebook and follow us on Spreaker and Twitter. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Audible.com. For your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/Shethinkers. And now, in the interest of being fair and unbiased, here is today's counter-argument.
They say that if you Christians would just get with the program, rap a little, smoke a little pot, take off your clothes in front of total strangers a little, give up your guns, give up your God and your disapproval of gays, and of course, if you would just put some really liberal Republican candidates up for statewide and national seats, then maybe, just maybe, the national comedians will stop mocking you and the national news will just ignore you instead of try to destroy you. Oh, the lies of the left. I have to call them enemies of God, progressives, liberals. They keep changing their names so that they can try to disguise the damage that they're doing to this country. But we're going to expose them at this Value Voter Summit. They declared a war on marriage, which weakened women and opened a door to this new culture of meaninglessness. Homosexuality is now dividing us and bringing hostility into the public square. All sexual behavior is adult behavior, in my opinion, so keep it private.
Unacceptable!